Chapter 173, Jewelry Standoff. Brother, do you want to buy this painting? Xiao Yu looked at Wang Xian shockingly in Suite 13. Nope. Wang Xian shook his head. Then why are you bidding on it? Xiao Yu threw him a stunned look. He just irks me. Wang Xian said with a smiling face. Xiao Yu and Elder Fong looked at Wang Xian, speechless. $50 million. Does anyone want to bid any further? This time, an elderly man's voice was heard. Wang Xian looked and realized that many people were casting their glances over their sides. Wang Xian gave a playful look and stopped his bid. Since Lu Feiyin was so determined to get that calligraphy, Wang Xian purposely raised the bid to annoy him. Lu Feiyin wanted to save his face. As long as the Lu family's reputation was concerned, he would not let go easily. Wang Xian took this as an advantage to up the price. Congratulations to Little Sword Celestial for winning the auction for Li Bai's authentic calligraphy. I hope young Master Lu can obtain the Sword Celestial's inheritance. When the elderly man on the auction table saw that Suite 13 gave up bidding, he knocked on the table and gave a final confirmation. Lu Feiyin was not as thrilled as just now, even though he'd won the auction. His face turned glum, and he went silent. He might have gotten the authentic Li Bai calligraphy, but he spent an additional $25 million and got a slap in his face. Naturally, he was in a bad mood. One by one, the items were auctioned away. Next on the list, a tuft of level 2 spiritual medicine, runling leaves of 500 years. After consumption, it could enhance body strength and strengthen body skin. This was the famous foundation building spiritual medicine. The auction began from a base price of $15 million. Level 2 spirit medicine is beneficial to your current cultivation. I will bid on it for you. Elder Fong stared at the auction item again with an unwavering expression. She immediately increased the bid to $20 million. $20 million, $21 million, $22 million. The competition for level 2 spiritual medicine was better than those antiques. The number of competitors reached a dozen instantly. $30 million. Elder Fong was not surprised by this situation. When the bid hit $28 million, she increased to $30 million immediately. The price of $30 million has already surpassed the value of level 2 spiritual medicine. $30 million? Forget it. It's too expensive. Spending $30 million for a tuft of rindling leaves is not worth it at all. After all, it's only useful to level 4 and 5 martial artists. When the price hit $30 million, the individual families and sects shook their heads slowly. $30 million was beyond its own value. Elder Fong did not feel the pain for such a price that surpassed its own value. Since it was for the cultivation of Xiao Yu, it was worth it. Suite 13 bid $30 million. Is there any higher price? The elderly man stood on the stage and asked everyone. Suite 13. Cold radiance flashed in Lu Feiyun's eyes. He cast a glance upstairs and sneered. $31 million. Young Master, Lu bid $31 million. Any more bidders? Lu Feiyun's bid slightly stunned the elderly man. Subsequently, he drew a smile on his face. The other party bid $30 million. They should be determined to get this tuft of spiritual leaves. Young Master Lu is upping the price. Looks like young Master Lu bears a grudge against Suite 13 from when they raised his bid just now. This is revenge. People from Suite 13 were ignorant. Provoking young Master Lu is not a wise choice. When the crowd saw Lu Feiyun raise the bid for another million, they understood immediately and exchanged discussion in whispers. Back in the suite, Elder Fong's expression was awful when she saw Lu Feiyun bid deliberately. Xiao Yu at the side raged as she glared at Lu Feiyun, who was sneering. Forget it. Let him have it. It's just a lousy level 2 spiritual leaves, said Wang Xian to Elder Fong. He drew a faint, cold smile when Lu Feiyun was competing with him. Elder Fong was slightly stunned with a mixed expression. Level 2 spiritual leaves are not lousy. Aha! Wang Xian chuckled out in embarrassment as though he spoke too haughtily. He quickly smiled and repeated, "Not lousy, not lousy. Any more bids?" The elderly man's voice was heard from the auction table again. He was surprised as he looked towards the second story. Logically speaking, Suite 13 should continue to bid if they were determined to get this item. Why are they keeping quiet? Lu Feiyun at table 8 was also taken aback. Coldness slowly faded out from his face. 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds. Congratulations to young Master Lu for winning the level 2 runling leaves once again. The congratulatory voice of the elderly was heard again. Gosh, they people of character. Young Master Lu was obviously provoking them. They actually surrendered. This is not about a man of character, but rather that there is no need to fight anymore. For a level 2 Renling leaves, $30 million is already too much. This young Master Lu is unwise. He raised the bid because the other party wanted the item out of spite. In the end, the other party withdrew while he stumbled on it. The surrounding people exchanged their conversations in whispers as they looked at Lu Feiyun and shook their heads. What a fool, little sword celestial. If it wasn't for his gifted talent in cultivation, he'd be totally useless. Hee, people from Suite 13 know their limits. On the contrary, Lu Feiyun was too hot-headed. It's hard for him to succeed. In the hall, people from the Ancient Fist sect and Lingyue sect looked at Lu Feiyun as they commented impassively. Young Master, we still have to bid for the last few items. We should not overspend. A middle-aged man frowned slightly as he reminded Lu Feiyun. I know. Lu Feiyun darkened his expression as he stared at Suite 13 with resentment. Lan Qingyue, on the side, shook her head when she witnessed this. Next, we're auctioning the emerald gemstone, weighing 2 kilograms at a starting bid of $200 million. A jade green-colored emerald gemstone was taken out, and it was beaming with dazzling glow under the lights. Emerald gemstone was considered to be the top-class jewelry. A carat would cost tens of thousands. A 2-kilogram emerald gemstone was worth over millions of dollars. The emerald gemstone could be used to make a dozen sets of jewelry. The price of $200 million had silenced everyone in the hall. The affluent people stopped at the sight of it, while the martial artists would not buy ravishing but impractical jewelry. $210 million. Just then, an aloof voice was heard. Lan Qingyue raised the price and spoke emotionlessly. $220 million. Haha. The Zhou are determined to get this emerald gemstone and all the jewelry today. An arrogant voice cut the air as a middle-aged lady stood up with multiple posh accessories hanging around her. She spoke impassively to Lan Qingyue. $230 million. Lan Qingyue said as she looked at the lady with an unchanged expression. Chapter 174, A Strange Stone. $250 million. Just as Lan Qingyue completed her words, the voice of the middle-aged woman sounded. She looked at Lan Qingyue and gave a cold smirk. The two large jewelry companies are going against each other head-on. A contest between two organizations that are worth dozens of billions each. This is going to be interesting. I heard that Lingyue sect found a gemstone vein on Lingyue Mountain that produces lots of precious gemstones. The Zhou jewelry has deep connections with Lingyue sect. After obtaining the support of Lingyue sect, the Zhou jewelry has been on a frantic drive to quash Deep Sea jewelry. It was said that Deep Sea Jewelry's billion-dollar investment in Dongqing province failed completely a while ago, and they lost everything. The Zhou jewelry has the backing of a first-class force, while Deep Sea Jewelry doesn't have the support of any ancient martial arts forces. When competing with the Zhou jewelry, Deep Sea Jewelry is at a deep disadvantage. I heard that deep-sea jewelry will have a political marriage with the Liu family of the tyrannical sword. I wonder if that's true. The surrounding crowd was looking on in shock as they witnessed the contest of these two large organizations. Deep-sea jewelry and the Zhou jewelry were ginormous organizations in the southern province and Dongqing province. Their financial wealth wasn't something that ordinary rich people could compete with. Despite seeing the strong stance put on by the middle-aged woman, Lan Qingyue maintained her emotionless face. $331, 53 million. If the Zhou jewelry would like to continue bidding, the deep-sea jewelry will choose to give up, Lan Qingyue said to the middle-aged woman plainly. When the middle-aged woman heard Lan Qingyue's bid, she was taken aback slightly as she stared at Lan Qingyue fervently. I finally understand why the Lan family will let a little girl like you take over the deep-sea jewelry. You're indeed capable. This piece of emerald gemstone is worth at most $331. 53 million when made into jewelry. You can choose to ignore the cost of production, but if this gets too high, it will become pointless. Nonetheless, what's important is that the deep-sea jewelry couldn't afford to absorb these losses. But the Zhou jewelry can. The middle-aged lady revealed a faint smile and increased the bid. $331, 54 million. Lan Qingyue wasn't shaken. She did not increase her bid or say a word. Congratulations to the Zhou jewelry for getting a precious piece of emerald gemstone at the price of $331. 54 million. The old man looked at the middle-aged woman in astonishment before glancing past Lan Qingyue. That's what a real businessman would look like and how a fully commercialized organization should act. The middle-aged woman from the Zhou jewelry was incredible, but the girl from deep-sea jewelry wasn't simple either. The auction resumed. Pieces after pieces of antiques, jewelry, painting, precious swords, and various weapons and spiritual medicine were being auctioned off. Elder Fong was able to get her hands on a level 2 spiritual grass for Xiaoyu as she fulfilled her wish. Wang Xian looked at the various items put up for auction, but none really caught his attention. He didn't know how to appreciate antiques, jewelry, and paintings, and had no need for weapons or spiritual medicine. He simply sat down and drank his tea. The next item is rather unique. One could see it as a piece of art. However, it has a faint, mysterious energy signature and is indestructible. The consignor has placed this with us for sale at a starting price of $10 million. The auction was approaching the end. The old man took a sip of tea before announcing this to the crowd. A piece of stone was being brought up the stage on a tray. The stone was entirely red with tiny marks on it. It was the size of a fist and looked magical and beautiful. The crowd below the stage looked inquisitively at this unknown item. This piece of stone was obtained by the consignor by chance in the seas. Our auction house wasn't able to tell what this is. Even an inborn expert couldn't destroy the stone. The starting price is $10 million, and the auction will begin now. The old man continued. The fist-sized stone was projected onto the screen for everyone to take a good look. An unknown item being auctioned at $10 million? Isn't this a little too expensive? A martial artist looked at the stone inquisitively. Even an inborn expert couldn't destroy it. It might be a treasure. Perhaps one could make a killing after buying it. Even an inborn expert couldn't tell what this is. Do you think you will know? What's the use of getting it? A few martial artists exchanged their views, and the surrounding crowd nodded their heads in approval. Since the stone had been examined by inborn experts without results, what's the use of getting it? Oh, isn't this stone pretty beautiful? The middle-aged lady from the Zhou jewelry was interested. She hesitated for a moment before entering a bid price of $10 million. The Zhou jewelry is really rich. All the jewelry sold today was bought by them, and they had spent approximately $400 to $500 million in total. Deep-sea jewelry isn't able to get any peace at all. The rich always have the final word. For the near future, the Zhou Jewelry might just become the largest jewelry company in the country. The surrounding crowd was astonished. With the support of Linguist sect, the Zhou Jewelry might evolve into the largest jewelry company in the future. When the middle-aged woman heard the exclamations of the crowd, she was cockily pleased as she touched the ruby in her hand. That stone. Why is it giving me a strange sensation? In a suite on the second floor, Wang Xian was taken aback when he saw that stone. He had felt a strange sensation welling up in his mind. He felt that this piece of red stone wasn't dead, but alive. Why would I get this feeling? Wang Xian frowned deeply. However, as the distance was too far, he couldn't get any information. This piece of stone isn't simple. Wang Xian focused and made up his mind immediately, following which he entered his bid, $11 million. Suite 13 has made the bid of $11 million. Is there anyone who has a higher bid? The old man announced loudly. The middle-aged woman hesitated for a moment before increasing the bid to $12 million. $13 million. Wang Xian didn't up his bid immediately. Instead, he hesitated for a moment before shouting. The middle-aged lady from the Zhou Jewelry didn't follow, and the crowd didn't join in. $13 million deal. Congratulations, Suite 13, for getting this piece of mysterious stone. I hope that you will be able to unveil the mysterious aura around this stone. The old man congratulated him. Brother, what did you buy this stone for? Xiao Yu looked at him and asked while feeling lost. I feel that this stone isn't simple. I bought it to do some research on it. Wang Xian said, How can a stone be so special? Xiao Yu commented but didn't continue further. Wang Xian also didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the employee carrying the stone towards their suite. Wang Xian realized that the closer the stone was, the stronger the feeling he had. That palpitation seemed to have triggered a response from the deepest part of his bloodline. This stone is definitely not simple. Wang Xian felt his heart tingle, and he stood up gradually. Creak! The door was opened, and the employee walked in with the red stone. Sir, this is the item you have bid for. Wang Xian looked at that stone. His body froze immediately, and his eyes were filled with shock. Essence blood of the Suzaku. Chapter 175, Spiritual Stone. Blood essence of Suzaku. Wang Xian looked at the red stone, shocked. Suzaku was one of the 5 phoenixes. They were named red Suzaku, yellow Ensu, green Ran, purple Saku Oatori, white Hanjun. Phoenixes, like the divine dragons, were the top race in the universe. In history and myths, the emperors were represented by dragons, and the empresses were represented by phoenixes. The Chinese idiom 9 and 5 reign supreme was originated from the 9 dragons and 5 phoenixes. Phoenixes had a formidable ability, nirvana, ability to be reborn. It was different from the 9 divine dragon transformations of the dragon race. The 5 phoenixes' cultivation was known as 9 nirvana transformations. At the same time, it was the most formidable existence in the universe. Wang Xian did not expect he could buy a piece of Suzaku essence blood with more than $10 million. This was hitting the jackpot. Suzaku blood essence, level 15. No dragon energy could be extracted, but it could be used to refine medicine, weapons, and nirvana. A simple message appeared in Wang Xian's brain. Such a simple blood essence was actually a level 15. This was a total surprise to him. A piece of Suzaku's blood essence was already level 15. It was not hard to imagine its mightiness. After Wang Xian swiped his card, he could not take his eyes off the blood essence. Brother, what is this thing? Xiao Yu observed it with curiosity. Good stuff. I'm going to study it. Wang Xian stared at it. Xiao Yu rolled eyes at his behavior and continued to focus on the next round of the auction. The auction had begun with the last few items bidding. The competition remained fierce. How can we activate this thing? Wang Xian stared at the Suzaku's blood essence puzzledly. With a slight hesitation, his finger moved, and a drop of blood appeared. He slowly smeared the blood on the stone, and the blood slowly seeped into the Suzaku blood essence. And then nothing happened. Wang Xian tried to instill Inferno Dragon energy, but soon he realized nothing got in. Is it because of my low level? After playing it for 20 minutes, Wang Xian did not figure out how to use the Suzaku blood essence. He was ignorant of refining medicines and weapons. As for Nirvana, he knew nuts about it. Without any choice, Wang Xian could only keep the Suzaku blood essence for now. I wasn't expecting that Manjak Ji would be hiding in the crowd. Totally unexpected. Master, who is he? There is a saying in the ancient martial world. Be mad, be a maniac. Do whatever it takes, Maniac Ji Yuanquan. What a name. I saw that Lu family, Ancient Fist Sect, Lingua Sect, and Demon Subduing Sect were quite wary of him. Master, how strong is he? An inborn expert. Just then, the exclamations from Elder Fong and Xiao Yu drew Wang Xian's attention. He spun around with doubts and looked down. A man was sitting at the last table at the back. His shoulder-length hair hid his face as he sat there like a dead person. Everyone in front of him was looking at this man with fear and respect. Master, why do people call him a maniac? Asked Xiao Yu curiously. There's a reason behind it. Ji Yuanquan was from an ancient martial artist family in Flow City. Back then, Ji family was of second-class strength. His father was a half-step to inborn. After they provoked a first-class force, his entire family got eliminated. Both parents and his wife were killed. At that time, he fled with his 5-year-old son in his arms. 10 years later, Ji Yuanquan hunted down his enemies on his own and exterminated that first-class force. More than 1,000 people were killed. It was a shocking piece of national news, but Ji Yuanquan was avenging himself, so none of them said anything. After which, Ji Yuanquan killed the miracle doctor ranked number 9 on the miracle doctor's chart. He did that because of his son. His son was saved 10 years ago, but he was poisoned and remained unconscious all the time. It was Ji Yuanquan who used a myriad of spiritual medicines to keep his son alive. He brought his son to seek medical treatment, but was humiliated by that miracle doctor. Hence, Ji Yuanquan killed him. His family demise and his unconscious son seemed to have impacted him, causing him to act eccentrically. Now, he does crazy things to cure his son's illness. With his terrifying strength, none of the forces are willing to provoke him, said Elder Fong slowly. Then he's quite pathetic, said Xiao Yu. Elder Fong chuckled. This type of person is the most frightening. The strongest person in the southern province is Maniac Ji. He did not rebuild his family nor join any forces. By the way, the auction has ended. Let's go down. Didn't your brother wants to auction some stuff? Elder Fong threw a glance at Wang Xian. Okay, let's go down. Wang Xian nodded. Miracle, Dr. Wang. Let's detour to avoid the suspicion of others, said Elder Fong to Wang Xian as she took them on a detour. Wang Xian knew her qualm. She was worried that Lu Feiyun would suspect they were in Suite 13. After detouring, Wang Xian realized that no one had left the place. The wealthy people, families, and sects were still looking at the auction table. On the stage stood a martial artist who was holding a level 2 spiritual medicine. Level 2 spiritual medicine in exchange for 100 pieces of stone with spiritual strength. I wonder if anyone wishes to trade. After the auction ended, 9 Stars Auction House would provide a free trading place for all the guests to trade their items. A spiritual stone. Just when the middle-aged martial artist was waiting for a reply, a cold voice cut through the air suddenly. The middle-aged martial artist cast his glance over and narrowed his pupils. Immediately he said, "Sure, Senior Ji." Maniac Ji swung his arm from the back row, and a white, twinkling spiritual stone was sent flying to the middle-aged martial artist. Spiritual stone, a complete spiritual stone. This deal is worth it. A spiritual stone is usually used by inborn experts for their cultivations. The value of it is more than level 2 spiritual medicine. I have heard that Maniac SI has been collecting various spiritual medicine. Looks like the rumor is true. The surrounding crowd exchanged discussion in whispers. Wang Xian looked at the spiritual stone falling into the middle-aged martial artist's hand slowly. He was stunned. Spiritual stone, 100 grams, can be used for cultivation. Spiritual stone. It's the real spiritual stone. When the message appeared in Wang Xian's brain, his eyes turned passionate. He finally saw the core material required for building the Dragon Palace. Spiritual stone. This spiritual stone is 100 grams, yet its value is more than $10 million. If he needs a ton of spiritual stone, that would be 1,000 kilograms. Based on the price, 10,000 of such spiritual stones would cost $100 billion. Wang Xian thought for a moment and frowned. I have a family sword that cut iron like mud. I would like to exchange it for level 1 spiritual medicine for improving blood circulation or cash. After the middle-aged martial artist went down, another martial artist went up to the stage with a honed sword. Wang Xian ignored the auction on the stage as he fixed his eyes on Maniac SI at the back. Since he possessed spiritual stone, he must have known how to obtain them. Chapter 176. Heart-shaped blood coral. Brother, aren't you going to auction some items? If you are, hurry up. Xiao Yu reminded Wang Xian as he saw him pondering. There had been 5 to 6 people who had gone up to trade their items. After Wang Xian recovered, he looked forward as a well-suited magnate walked down the auction stage. Just as he was about to stand up, Lu Feiyun from table 8 stood up before him. It was obvious that he did not get anything he wanted from the auction previously, evident from his bleak expression. As Lu Feiyun walked up to the stage, he looked at Lan Qingyue before looking around. His gaze eventually stopped at Lingyue Sect and the Zhou jewelry. He took out an exquisite box from his pocket and opened it. I believe all of you can guess what the item I'll be trading away is. Yes, this is one of the petals from the ethereal flower. Its value can match that of a level 3 spiritual medicine. I want to trade this for any jewelry. Any type of jewelry will do as long as its value matches that of this petal. Those from the Zhou jewelry and Lingyue Sect, do you want to trade? As Lu Feiyun spoke, he started to grin, and a slight sense of domination could be felt from him. Cuckoo! I did not expect that Lu's family to come up with such a precious item to support deep-sea jewelry. It seems like we will be facing off against them directly in the near future. A middle-aged man from Lingyue spoke indifferently as he looked at Lu Feiyun with a smile. Lu Feiyun looked towards Lingyue and replied calmly, now that the deep-sea jewelry has the support from our Lu's family, no one can take advantage of them easily. Great. In that case, we will like to give it a try. Lu, family of the tyrannical sword. TSK. The middle-aged man from Lingyue Sect snorted. There was tension in the air. Lu Feiyun was undaunted. At this moment, he seemed domineering and indeed lived up to his name of the little sword celestial. Everyone, I'll be trading level 3 spiritual medicine for jewelry of equivalent value. If you have such jewelry, you may come forward to trade. If you don't have it now, you can come to the Lu family in the future for trade. Lu Feiyun repeated himself before turning to Lan Qingyue, after which he left the stage with a delighted expression. He believed that his actions would definitely move Lan Qingyue. Lingyue Sect is supporting the Zhou jewelry, and now the Lu family is supporting deep-sea jewelry. This is going to be interesting. The Zhou jewelry has the support from a first-class force. Deep-sea jewelry has to react and find a strong cooperation partner. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a match at all. Trading spiritual herbs for jewelry. From what it seems, Lu's family is giving great support for deep-sea jewelry. In the future, they might just have a chance against Zhou's family jewelry. Wang Xian pondered as he overheard these conversations of the crowd. It seems that the Lan's family might have run into some crisis. After Lu Feiyun exited, Wang Xian stood up immediately and walked towards the auction stage. Everyone's attention was on him as they waited in anticipation to see what he would be taking out for trade. Below the stage, Lan Qingyue was staring at Wang Xian blankly. Lu Feiyun looked at Wang Xian with a heavy expression on his face. Glimmers flashed in his eyes. "I'm selling a few things." Wang Xian smiled as he spoke. He then took out 4 exquisite blood corals. Blood corals, a type of precious gemstones from the seas. There are 4 of them here, and one of them is... As Wang Xian spoke, he lifted one of them to show it to the crowd. A heart-shaped blood coral that is formed naturally. I believe that the value of this would be very high. I'm selling all of these and accepting only cash. Wow, these blood coral are so stunning. 4 blood corals, with 2 of them likely weighing 4 to 5 caddies. These are valuable. Naturally formed, heart-shaped blood coral. That blood coral is simply breathtaking. It also has a branch that looks just like a red line. It's beautiful. Blood corals are often regarded as precious gems that aren't inferior to diamonds. These 4 blood corals would likely be worth more than $300 to $400 million. Below the stage, the crowd exclaimed, "Bang!" At this moment, a middle-aged woman from the Zhou jewelry stood up with eyes beaming with desire as she stared at the heart-shaped blood coral. Heart-shaped blood coral, and one that is formed naturally. Using just this as a marketing gimmick would be enough to bring huge fame for the Zhou jewelry. In fact, if the publicity was done well, the heart-shaped blood coral would enable the Zhou jewelry to make its way to the top rankings of jewelry companies in the entire world. Naturally formed blood corals that had auspicious symbolism weren't something that emerald gemstone could compete. Lan Qingyue also stared fervently at the heart-shaped blood coral in Wang Xian's hands. She clenched her fist tightly. $400 million. The Zhou jewelry will be taking all these blood corals. The middle-aged lady from the Zhou jewelry shouted as she stared at the blood corals on the stage. $420 million. Lan Qingyue shouted without any hesitation. $450 million. The middle-aged woman had no hesitation either. Give us those blood corals, and our Lu family will ensure you a life of wealth and fame. Lu Feiyun said to Wang Xian as he saw the competition that involved Lan Qingyue. Do he need the Lu family to give him a life of wealth and fame? A middle-aged man from Lingyue sect stood up immediately and continued, "Sell them to us, and you'll get the friendship of Lingyue sect. I'll forgive you for offending me previously. You can also use these blood corals to exchange for level 3 spiritual medicine from the Lu family. I'll give you 5 petals of the ethereal flower." Lu Feiyun ignored the middle-aged man and remarked coldly, "My friend, you've got to think this through. Sell it to us, and the Lingyue sect will ensure your safety. You won't have to worry about others taking revenge on you." Sensing the aggression towards Wang Xian from Lingyue sect and Lu Feiyun, Lan Qingyue frowned slightly and said to Lu Feiyun, "Young Master Lu, I can compete for this on my own. I don't need the Lu family to help me." "It's all right, Qingyue, leave this to me. I will definitely get those blood corals for you," Lu Feiyun replied confidently. Lan Qingyue frowned further as she looked at Wang Xian. She increased her bid once again, $500 million. The value of these blood corals has exceeded my expectations. Wang Xian was slightly shocked at the development. He turned his gaze to Lingyue sect and Lu Feiyun, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. An auction is an auction. Trying to threaten me. We have a deal, Wang Xian said as he looked at Lan Qingyue. Lan Qingyue was stunned but revealed a faint smile. "Ha, you are a smart person. This is a wise decision." Lu Feiyun laughed heartily and remarked as he saw Wang Xian selling these blood corals to them. He then looked at Lingua's sect with a taunting expression. HMMPF. The middle-aged man from Lingua snorted as he looked at Wang Xian. Haha, you're interested in level 3 spiritual medicine. Lu Feiyun looked arrogantly at Wang Xian and asked, I didn't say I was selling them to you. Furthermore, what use do I have for those 5 petals? To rear bees? When Wang Xian saw the arrogant looks of Lu Feiyun, he wasn't pleased at all. He didn't know why he always found him extremely annoying. Wang Xian's words shocked the surrounding crowd. What just happened? Brat, what are you saying? Level 3 spiritual medicine. Do you know the value of level 3 spiritual medicine? Insolent brat. When Lu Feiyun heard him, his face darkened instantly. Chapter 177. The Impact from Level 4 Spiritual Medicine. How arrogant. 5 level 3 spiritual medicines are more than enough to exchange these blood corals. This young man actually said it's for rearing bees? Ignorant people aren't afraid of anything. How dare he say he'd use level 3 spiritual medicines of Lu family to rear bees? Those were the flower petals from the level 4 ethereal flower. Each of them is equivalent to level 3 spiritual medicine, and they are priceless. I guess he didn't know the value of level 3 spiritual medicines. He was lucky to have gotten those blood corals. All the martial artists' families and sects were dumbfounded when they heard Wang Xian. Subsequently, they commented sarcastically, not only level 3 spiritual medicines, but even level 1 ones were also precious. Only the first-class forces could lay their hands on level 3 spiritual medicines. Lu family could become the first-class force because they had 2 stalks of level 4 ethereal flowers. Hence, they had consistent supplies of ethereal flowers' petals. In fact, every level of spiritual medicine marked a difference. Some of the spiritual medicine trees could bear a lot of spiritual medicines. Hence, the value would be higher. Ethereal flower petals were considered to be low in value among the level 3 spiritual medicines, but it was not easy to obtain either. Now, Wang Xian actually commented on using them for rearing bees. Thus, everyone felt he was too arrogant. Are the level 3 spiritual medicines formidable? Wang Xian chuckled softly as he looked at Lu Feiyun. Then, he turned to Lan Qingyue and picked up the blood corals. We'll deal according to the price you said. Lan Qingyue stared at Wang Xian with gleaming eyes. She stood up slowly, nodded, and walked over. I'll transfer the money immediately to you. Lan Qingyue took over 4 blood corals, with surprise flashing across her eyes. Wang Xian nodded and did not utter another word. Lad, aren't you talking big? It's better to stay low profile. The value of level 3 spiritual medicine is not something you can spout nonsense about. When Lan Qingyue took over the blood corals from Wang Xian, Lu Feiyun clenched his fist with a dreadful expression. You are the arrogant one. Wang Xian glared at Lu Feiyun with a disdainful look. He then took out a yellow fruit from his pocket slowly. Let's carry on with the auction. Spiritual bead, a level 4 spiritual medicine, spiritual bead fruit. What? When Wang Xian took out the spiritual bead fruit from his pocket, a faint, refreshing aroma drifted into the air. Boom! At this moment, people from dozens of tables stood up in the auction hall as they stared the fruit in Wang Xian's hand with fire in their eyes. The fruit bore by spiritual bead. It's 2,000 years old, level 4 spiritual fruit. This can give you an additional 10% chance to attain half step to inborn for level 9 martial artists. This thing is a must-have. We need to get it. The fruit from level 4 spiritual bead. This is even more valuable than the petals of ethereal flower. Gosh, how did this young man get level 4 spiritual fruit? All the martial artists from the families and sects stared hard at the level 4 fruit with burning eyes. They almost went short of breath. Level 4 spiritual fruit was extremely beneficial to a family or a sect. If any of the level 9 experts from the clans or families could achieve half-step to inborn realm with this fruit, their family or sects would attain huge improvements. In particular, those third-class forces could upgrade their strength by a class with a half-step to inborn expert, and the fruit could give birth to one half-step to inborn expert. In history, level 4 spiritual fruit has only appeared thrice in 9 Stars Auction House. It's totally unexpected to encounter one over here. An elderly level 9 martial artist was exhilarated as he stood up, staring at the spiritual fruit. No wonder, he said, Liu family's level 3 spiritual medicine was trash. He's got a better one, and he actually took it out to trade. Damn, compared to the level 4 spiritual fruit, Liu family's level 3 ethereal flower petals are indeed trash. Young lad, what do you want to trade this spiritual fruit for? An old man from the demon-subduing sect asked Wang Xian with a pair of eager eyes. Spiritual stones. I only want to trade for spiritual stones, through bids. Wang Xian said immediately. Initially, he had wanted to trade for money, but the corals fetched a price that was beyond his expectations. Besides, the spiritual stones appeared. As he spoke, he turned to look at Maniac G at the back. Just then, Maniac G lifted his head and revealed half of his head, looking at the level 4 spiritual fruit in Wang Xian's hand. Spiritual stone. After Wang Xian revealed his trading requirement, everyone had a complicated look. Spiritual stones were valuable, and not any ordinary families or sects could possess them. Besides, they did not have a large number, even if they owned some. Without 70 or 80 spiritual stones, it was impossible to win the auction. At table 8, Liu Fei Yun continued to have a mixed expression on his face. He fixed his gaze on the spiritual fruit in Wang Xian's hand and gritted his teeth. He did not expect this fellow to have a level 4 spiritual fruit. Recalling what had happened just now, when he asked Wang Xian if he knew the value of the level 3 spiritual medicine, it was another slap in the face. And this was not the first time today. Young Master Liu, level 4 spiritual fruit. We must fight for it. We must win it. Just then, the middle-aged man beside Liu Fei Yun exclaimed excitedly, If we can win this spiritual fruit, our head of family will be pleased. The voice of his middle-aged steward darkened Liu Fei Yun's expression even more. He took a deep breath and nodded with a dreadful look. Upon seeing Wang Xian stir up a commotion with just a thing he took out, Lan Qingyue had a look of yearning. If she was the chosen one, how wonderful it would be. 70 spiritual stones. An old man from the demon-subduing sect bid immediately. 71 spiritual stones, a young man from Ancient Fist sect shouted. 73 spiritual stones. Liu Fei Yun clenched his teeth and yelled, Ho ho! Why is the Liu family participating in the auction? The middle-aged man from Lingyue sect looked at Liu Fei Yun and jeered at him. Just now, I wonder who said the other party was ignorant about the value of spiritual medicine? And who claimed that his level 3 spiritual medicine was awesome. Since it's so awesome, why do you have to bid? Liu Fei Yun's face turned black immediately upon hearing what he said. If you want to bid, just offer your price. Stop saying useless shit. Humph, how arrogant for a junior, just because he thinks he's the little sword celestial. The middle-aged man from Lingyue sect had chilly eyes. He shouted out immediately, 75 spiritual stones. 76. 77. 4 first-class forces are competing for it. Forget it. We are not qualified to participate in this. Spiritual stones are the hard currency for the top-notch forces, but it's too difficult to obtain them. I only had 3 of them, and I already used them all up for my cultivation. The rest of the people watched dumbfoundedly as Liu family, Ancient Fist sect, Demon-subduing sect, and Lingyue sect competed against each other. All of them let out a soft sigh. They were totally ineligible to participate. 85 spiritual stones. Just when the four first-class forces were in a heated competition, Maniac G's voice cut the air once again as he raised the bid to 85 spiritual stones. This was an extremely high offer. Chapter 178, Maniac G. The offer from Maniac G made the four main bidders hesitate. It wasn't because they were afraid of the Maniac G's strength. For a level 4 spiritual fruit, they would dare to continue bidding even if they were going against Maniac G. However, Maniac G's offer was too high. A level 4 spiritual fruit was worth around 80 spiritual stones. It would not be a good deal for them if the price went any higher. 85 spiritual stone. Maniac G's offer is too high. In order to cure his son, Maniac G is searching all over the world for all kinds of spiritual medicine. He won't be concerned about the price. Sigh, it seems like Maniac G is going to win the bid for the spiritual fruit. Putting Maniac G aside, who is this young man? He can't be simple, especially since he has a leave for spiritual fruit. I agree, he can't be simple. Since he dares to mock the little sword celestial, he definitely has someone's backing. Those who were around started to whisper as they witnessed the events unfolded. Wang Xian looked satisfied, especially when he saw the four main powers stopped increasing their bid. He was contented with 85 spiritual stones. These added up to 8,500 grams. Although it was still far from the target of 1 ton, at least there was progress. Wang Xian said, "Congratulations, Senior G, for securing this spiritual fruit." He smiled as he looked at Maniac G and walked towards him with the fruit. Maniac G nodded and looked at Wang Xian. "Take this," Wang Xian said as he put the spiritual fruit beside him. Maniac G picked up the fruit and retrieved 85 spiritual stones from the bag beside him. "For you, Miracle Dr. Wang," he said. "Oh, you know me." Wang Xian replied with surprise. "I am familiar with all the miracle doctors that are ranked in the top 50s. Since Miracle Dr. Wang had defeated Feng Huazi, who was ranked 18, I would have definitely heard about you," Maniac G said with a blank face. "I see." Wang Xian laughed. He looked at Maniac G and continued, "Senior G, do you want me to take a look at your son? Your medical skills are still insufficient." Maniac G commented calmly, "Don't you want me to give it a try? After all, your son's conditions are already as such. What if I can cure him?" Wang Xian insisted with a smile on his face. There was also a tinge of excitement in his tone. "Get out of my sight, or die." At this moment, Maniac G lifted his head, slightly with killing intent, clearly directed towards Wang Xian. Those who said such things about his son were courting death. What's going on? That young man offended Maniac G? Fuck, he must be courting death. How dare he offend Maniac G? That's equivalent to seeking his demise. At this moment, those in front of them visibly felt the intense killing intent. Everyone's heart skipped a beat and turned their attention over. This guy is courting death. I hope Maniac G kills that young man. A flicker of surprise flashed across Lu Feiyun's eyes as he spoke and gloated. Elder Feng and Xiao Yu looked over hysterically. Maniac G was seated in the last row and the seats in the middle were empty. As a result, many did not overhear their conversation. However, they knew that the young man had offended Maniac G. This is Maniac G's style, killing a person once he gets into an argument. As Wang Xian felt Maniac G's aura, he did not care much. He stretched his hand over to tap on Maniac G's shoulder. When Maniac G saw the composed looks on Wang Xian, bloodthirst welled up in him as he grabbed towards Wang Xian's arm. Pack pack! Wang Xian's arm was stopped by Maniac G. However, he still managed to tap on Maniac G's shoulder twice. "If you believe in my medical skills, you can look for me at Old Street. You know it." Wang Xian smiled while he turned and left. What's going on? Why didn't Maniac G strike? The young man must have said something that offended Maniac G. However, Maniac G probably did not want to kill him. Although Maniac G is eccentric, he doesn't kill the innocent. He probably has clear rules on who he should or should not kill. At this moment, no one saw the astonished looks on Maniac G hidden behind his long and messy hair. He looked blankly at his palm, which was blood-flushed, and he was in awe. How could he be so strong? Maniac G mumbled to himself. Just a few moments ago, he had felt fear trickling down his soul when his palm touched the young man's arm. He was certain that the young man was stronger than him, and the difference was huge. Wang Xian smiled as he walked to Xiaoyu and Elder Fang's side. It was all his intentions to speak so much to Maniac G and even taunt him with words. He had his own thoughts for providing treatment to Maniac G's son. He felt that it was time that he paid more attention to the construction of the Dragon Palace. In the near future, he should try to look for the resources required. The trading session continued to about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. When the trading session ended, Wang Xian, Elder Fang, and Xiaoyu smiled and exited the venue. It had been a fruitful trip for Wang Xian today. Suzuka's essence blood, 85 spiritual stones, $500 million in cash and relevant information about spiritual stones. He was thrilled. The ancient martial arts families and sects from the southern province, Hailing Province and Dongqing Province were left in bewilderment as they looked at them leaving. Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian and hesitated. After a while, she quickened her pace and walked towards him. She called out, "Wang Xian!" The voice shocked Wang Xian. He turned around and smiled. Lan Qingyue said gratefully, "Thank you for the day." Wang Xian smiled and replied, "That's not necessary. We are classmates after all." Lan Qingyue smiled and replied, "Still, I should thank you." At a few meters away, Lu Feiyun was beaming with killing intent as he thought to himself, "Damn you, brat. And you, Lan Qingyue, you will be marrying me in the near future, and yet you are acting so flirtatiously." He clenched his fist tightly. Lu Feiyun was deeply embarrassed today. Lu Feiyun looked at his butler and said with rage, "Butler Zhao, check it out. I want to know the background of this brat and where he obtained the spiritual fruit from. I want him dead, and I want you to bring his head to me." "Yes, young master." Butler Zhao replied and nodded. Lu Feiyun had a savage expression on his face and mumbled, "It will be our engagement ceremony in 5 days. You dare to mix with an external guy right here? Lan Qingyue, I will definitely give you a surprise once we are engaged. I will make you submit to me under my crouch." After a brief chat with Lan Qingyue, the two went their own ways. Wang Xian wasn't clear about his feelings for Lan Qingyue. Nonetheless, he knew that there was a sense of guilt. After driving into the villa, Elder Fang brought Xiaoyu to train. As for Wang Xian, he went to the courtyard, got a big vase and filled it with soil before bringing the vase with soil to the top of the villa, after which he planted various spiritual grasses in it. He nodded with satisfaction and lay down under the sunshade umbrella by the side. He then took out his phone and called Guan Shuqing. Wang Xian pondered about getting her to the villa, and then, he. Chapter 179, Invited for a Treatment. The next morning, it was the 4th day of their 7-day holiday. After watching Xiaoyu practice her sword in the courtyard, Wang Xian came to the Divine Dragon Medical Hall at the Old Street. The medical hall had been closed for 4 days. Some of the calls from the hospitals were rejected by him too. "Even though I have $500 million now, I must continue to work hard when I think of the resources required for Dragon Palace." Wang Xian opened the door of Divine Dragon Medical Hall, boiled a flask of hot water, and poured himself a cup of tea with smiles. He lay there while waiting for patients to come to him. In less than 20 minutes, an ambulance siren was heard outside. Wang Xian had already called and instructed the hospitals to send those patients in need over on his way to the medical hall. Be careful, careful when you shift to the bed. Here, no hurry. Doctor, is the miracle doctor here that formidable? If he wasn't that formidable, would I have taken you here? Speak no more after you enter. You need to abide by the rules. Otherwise, you'll bear the consequences. You should have found out about the reputation of the Divine Dragon Medical Hall these past 2 days. The conversation between the family members of the patient and the doctor was heard from the outside. One by one, 3 patients were brought in one shot. Wang Xian stood up and swept his gaze across the 3 patients. Payment first, and I guarantee your recovery. After his shout, he went to the patient and began his treatment. Miracle Dr. Wang, I brought my son here. Please take a look at him. At this point, a voice was heard. Bring him upstairs first. You need to queue for getting treatment. Wang Xian did not look back at him as he spoke. Maniac Ji was not displeased at all. He immediately signaled to the people behind him with gestures. The few of them nodded and carried a juvenile out from a car outside with care. The juvenile was 14 or 15 years old with rosy cheeks and did not seem like a patient at all. However, the juvenile was unconscious with no signs of waking up. One could vaguely see the black bones of the juvenile. Wang Xian was treating another 3 patients. To avoid being watched, he got a few curtains in the room so that no one could see him from the outside. Maniac Ji watched everything Wang Xian was doing. Subsequently, he stood quietly at the side. The rest of the family members were standing at the side too. Is this the place? Divine Dragon Medical Hall, it should be here. I heard there's a new miracle doctor that entered the miracle doctor chart. Now he's ranked 18, so he should be quite skillful. He beat Feng Huazi to earn his ranking, but he has no cases to prove his reputation. Let's try and see if he can cure Big Brother's injuries. If not, we'll have to find the miracle doctor from the medical saint sect. Just then, there were a few middle-aged men talking outside the door. They were dressed uniformly with a wolf embroidered on their clothes. Is Miracle Dr. Wang around? Asked the 3 of them directly. When they stepped into the medical hall, they frowned when they saw that people were standing around in silence. Queue up if you're here for treatment. Wang Xian answered impassively when he heard the voice outside. The 3 of them were stunned and chuckled immediately. Jianlong sect would like to invite Miracle Dr. Wang to Rongzhou to treat our big brother. We'll reward you handsomely then. Rongzhou. Wang Xian was slightly taken by surprise, as no one had ever come to Rivertown to invite him for treatment. It looked like his reputation had traveled far, which was a good thing. I don't have much time these next 2 days. You can bring him over. Wang Xian smiled and replied, Rongzhou might not be far from here, but it would take 4 to 5 hours of traveling. He would waste a day if he traveled back and forth, which was a troublesome thing. Her? The middle-aged man in the center knit his eyebrows slightly and said again, Miracle Dr. Wang, our big brother's injuries are quite severe. He's not fit to travel so far. I hope you can come along with us. How much are you paying if I cure him? Wang Xian asked immediately as he frowned. $20 million. So long as you can cure our big brother's injuries, we will pay you $20 million. Also, we'll provide those required herbs and spiritual medicines. The middle-aged man continued. $20 million? Wang Xian shook his head and declined. I'm busy. You? The middle-aged man was stunned as his expression turned awful. It was more than respectful for a first-class sect, Dianlong sect, here to invite a miracle doctor that was ranked 18. But the other party did not even give them any face. Besides, he did not even come out to show his face. Miracle Dr. Wang, we can negotiate the price again. You should at least show your face. You're not showing respect to us if you do this. The middle-aged man darkened his expression as he spoke to Wang Xian. Wang Xian, who was treating a patient inside with his azure dragon energy, frowned. Impatiently, he drew the curtain open and looked at the three of them outside. "I'm busy. If you want to get treatment, bring the patient over. Make your choice, and stop interrupting my treatment of other patients." Wang Xian looked at the three middle-aged men and spoke without any patience. "Fuck, it took us almost 5 hours to get here just to invite you over. Is this the right attitude? Your ranking isn't high, and you're fucking proud of it. How could you not give a face to Jianlong's sect?" A middle-aged man looked at Wang Xian with fury on his face. "Looking at you, I don't think you deserve your reputation. You look so young. I wonder what means you used to win Fang Huazi." "That's enough, third brother. Stop it." The middle-aged man in the center frowned slightly and waved his hand to stop him. He then looked at Wang Xian and coldly said, "We heard about your reputation, and that you're young and promising, but you're such an arrogant fellow that you are not showing the Jianlong sect respect, even when we came here and invited you. Heh. Scram if you're not here for treatment." Just then, Maniac Ji's voice was heard from the side before Wang Xian could reply. He lifted his head and looked at the trio from Jianlong's sect with immense, killing intent in his eyes. The three of them froze as they spun around with nasty looks. An infuriating bellow sounded, "Fuck you again." But when they saw Maniac Ji, they swallowed whatever words they had. Their eyes were wide open as they looked at him with disbelief. You are Maniac Ji." The three middle-aged men trembled all of a sudden as they revealed frightening expressions. Inborn expert Maniac Ji was well known for his name. They had even seen him before. Looking at the middle-aged man whose hair was long and who was filled with a murderous aura, who else other than Maniac Ji could be here? They swallowed a mouthful of saliva with great fear in their eyes. "Senior Ji, hello. We'll leave now. Like now." The trio was full of fear. They were well aware that Maniac Ji was a terrifying existence, as he had once exterminated a first-class force, all by himself. Even though Jianlong's sect was also a first-class force, they were not that different from the one that Maniac Ji had exterminated. If their sect leader knew they provoked Maniac Ji, they would get slaughtered immediately just to appease Maniac Ji's anger. After all, Maniac Ji liked to do things based on his preferences, and he could kill anyone without batting his eyes. Chapter 180. The Treatment. The trio is so arrogant. The first thing they did was to demand Miracle Dr. Wang to follow them to Jianlong's sect to treat their big brother. That guy with long hair looked so strong. The trio was terrified by just a sentence from him. Even the middle-aged man with long hair had to queue with his son for the treatment, and yet the trio dared to demand that the miracle doctor follow them to Rongzhou right away. Don't they know the rules here? How dare they still kick up a fuss here? At this moment, those around the group started to whisper to one another. As the trio overheard the conversations, their bodies stiffened. There was a flicker of fear in their eyes. Even the Maniac Ji brought his son here for treatment and queued patiently for his turn. Is he just a miracle doctor that ranked near the 20s in the ranking board? Even the miracle doctor that ranked 9 was murdered when he offended the Maniac Ji. "We are sorry, Miracle Dr. Wang. We will scram immediately." Immediately. The trio left the place immediately with fear evident on their faces. Looking at the trio with slight disdain, Wang Xian shook his head slowly. It was human nature to bully the weak and be fearful of the strong. Ignoring this brief interlude, Wang Xian walked to the last person in the queue and continued with his treatment. After 5 minutes, he nodded with satisfaction and walked out. "Let's go take a look at your son," he said to Maniac Ji. "Yes." With a flicker of hope in his eyes, Maniac Ji nodded his head and followed Wang Xian up the stairs. At the second story, Maniac Ji walked to his son who was on the bed. His eyes were filled with love he had for his son. With determination in his eyes, he said, "Miracle Dr. Wang, I can promise you anything so long as you can cure my son." Wang Xian nodded his head and looked at the young man who was on the bed. Haven't you looked for other skillful miracle doctors to treat him? Maniac Ji replied in a solemn expression. I once approached the ranked for miracle doctor. He told me that only the 10,000 years cleansing elixir could cure him. The 10,000 years cleansing elixir was considered to be level 7 or 8 spiritual medicine. Disregarding the chances of finding it, whether it really existed, was a question. After hearing from the maniac Ji, Wang Xian reached out and lifted the young man's arm. He felt a slight warmth from his arm and a faint glow emitting from his arm. However, one could also vaguely see that his bones had turned black. The toxins had already bound with his bones. Ordinary medical techniques couldn't possibly cure it. It would require a large amount of strong spiritual herbs to purge the toxins from the bones. While holding the young man's arm, Wang Xian injected a stream of azure dragon energy into his body. Through his senses, he noticed that the young man's bones were all pitched black. It looked horrifying. However, there was a sweet scent of spiritual medicine emitted from his body too. If it wasn't for the vast amount of spiritual medicine in his body, he would have died long ago. Maniac Ji told Wang Xian, although that miracle doctor did not cure Xiao Xiang's illness, he reminded me of a way to keep his life, using the body as medicine to suppress the toxins. For every cycle, I would need various spiritual grasses and decoct them into soup to feed him. Otherwise, he would be beyond curing if the toxin enters the body. If Wang Xian had not demonstrated the terrifying strength the previous day, Maniac Ji would not have bothered and wasted his time on a miracle doctor that ranked only 18th. He wouldn't have queued patiently and wasted his time explaining all this to him. As the energy of the azure dragon flowed into the young man's body, Wang Xian couldn't help but frown slightly. As he was still too weak, the energy of the azure dragon couldn't deal with the toxins in the body. These toxins are really vicious. The dosage of the toxins is horrifying too. As the energy from the azure dragon contacted the toxin, the energy was being neutralized at a terrifying speed. The toxins seemed to be alive and would attack the energy from the azure dragon frantically once they sensed it coming. This venom was released by a half-step to inborn expert just before he died. This venom that was released was sufficient to kill 10,000 people. As Maniac Ji spoke, he shook with wrath. There were signs of madness in his eyes. Wang Xian looked at Maniac Ji. With how it looked now, Maniac Ji was no doubt experiencing madness in his mind. If his son had died, Maniac Ji would likely fall into deprivation and become a real demon. The situation is within control, Wang Xian said as he sent divine dragon energy into Xiao Xiang's body this time. SSS. Wang Xian could hear burning sounds from the body of Xiao Xiang. He realized the concentrated toxins and the divine dragon energy were neutralizing each other. Although dragon energy was considered to be among the highest tier energies, the amount was limited. On the other hand, the toxin had been inside Xiao Xiang's body for several years and was deeply rooted in his bones. Nonetheless, neutralizing the toxins in his body was still possible with the dragon energy. 100, 200, 300. The dragon energy was being exhausted quickly. The amount of toxins in Xiao Xiang's body far exceeded Wang Xian's expectations. However, the expense of the dragon energy was nothing compared to what there was to gain. As he looked at the black toxin diminishing from his son's body at a pace visible to the naked eye, Maniac Ji's eyes lit up with excitement. He crouched beside the bed, hugging his own head. Wang Xian looked at Maniac Ji and thought to himself, even a crazy person has a soft spot in his heart. Wang Xian utilized both of his arms and emitted dense dragon energy from his body. At the same time, he was emitting the demeanor of a supreme emperor. Maniac Ji was in awe. Horror flashed in his eyes as he lifted his head and looked at Wang Xian. This aura, it's too strong. Puff. All right, the toxins in your son's body have been removed. Wang Xian exhaled as he spoke. He had used up more than 2,000 points of dragon energy to cure Maniac Ji's son. This was a huge price to pay. Arg, arg. Just as they spoke, Xiao Xiang started to murmur. With the help of the vast quantity of spiritual medicine in his body was recovering at a rapid pace after the toxins had been purged. In the future, if he started to cultivate, he could easily reach martial artist level 8 or 9. Ji Xiang, my son, my dear son! Maniac Ji exclaimed in excitement. Wang Xian looked back at him while walking down the stairs. He wanted to give the father and son some personal time. As Wang Xian returned to the first story, the other 3 patients had left. He poured himself a new cup of tea and started drinking in his chair. The fragrance of the tea was what he liked. Bang, bang, bang. About 10 minutes later, footsteps were heard from above. Ji Xiang, wait for me outside the medical hall. I will join you shortly. A fatherly love could be felt from Maniac Ji as he spoke. He was no longer in the state of madness. Yes, father. Ji Xiang nodded as he walked out. Maniac Ji walked to Wang Xian and bowed deeply. Thank you, Miracle Dr. Wang. I will fulfill all your requests, so long as you don't send me to die. I would still like to accompany my son for some time, he promised. As Wang Xian rose from his seat, he smiled at Maniac Ji and said, I need an astronomical amount of spiritual stones. I need a way for me to obtain them. Chapter 181. Ways of obtaining the spiritual stones. I only have 50 pieces of spiritual stones. When Maniac Ji heard Wang Xian's conditions, he frowned as he did not have that many spiritual stones. Tell me, where did you get yours from? Asked Wang Xian to Maniac Ji directly. Underworld's missions. Spiritual stones are very precious items for cultivation use. They are the hard currency in the underworld. Hence, some of the top-notch sects and families use them to trade. Maniac Ji explained to Wang Xian. Missions. Wang Xian raised his eyebrows with doubts. Everyone in the world earns money to survive. It's the same for the underworld. There were many ways to do that, and it makes no difference, just like the modern world. But the underworld is more practical. You can log on to a website, and they have all kinds of missions. You can also set your own missions. All the sects and clans are gathered on the website. Maniac Ji looked at the computer next to him, and Wang Xian agreed. Maniac Ji got on the computer and logged in to a special website. When he entered, the screen showed a message. With various sects and clans in the underworld, our heroes emerge. On the home page was all the various ranking charts. Underworld's outstanding experts, doctors, spiritual medicines, art of cultivation, young heroes, assassins, and more. The charts piqued the curiosity of Wang Xian. The happenings in the underworld were much to his surprise. He clicked the medical ranking with some interest and scrolled to the 18th position. A name was on it with some comments. Miracle Doctors chart number 18. Wang Xian, age 20, defeated Feng Huazi on September 17th this year. He crippled his arm and gained his fame overnight after this match. Replaced Feng Huazi's ranking, but his competence in medical skills remained unknown. He has a divine dragon medical hall at the Old Street, River Town. This evaluation is quite to the point. Wang Xian read the website with a face full of smiles. The founder of this website is Tian Shao Sacred Sect. No one can beat them in terms of information. There is a space dedicated to all kinds of missions with about 400 to 500 missions daily. Some of them are easy. Some of them are difficult. Each mission has different rewards. You can also publish your mission and trade your items on the platform. Maniac Ji introduced the website to Wang Xian formally. Then he hesitated. Since you want the spiritual stones, I can collect them for you. I'll give you 100 annually for 15 years. What do you think? Apart from that, you can command me whenever you need help. For the next 15 years, I'll obey your instructions. With 100 spiritual stones annually, that would make 1,500 pieces for 15 years. If these stones were converted into cash, it would be more than $100 billion. On top of that, the inborn expert service for 15 years was added to the price paid. You can collect as many spiritual stones as possible. If I have other needs, I'll find you again. Wang Xian waved his hand as he spoke to Maniac Ji. Yes. Maniac Ji hesitated before he nodded. Miracle Dr. Wang, I have some spiritual medicine with me. I'll get someone to send it over to you tomorrow. Sure. I'll give you an address later. You can deliver them to that place. Wang Xian nodded. I'll take my leave now. Maniac Ji bowed and left. Be it because of the power that Wang Xian displayed or the ability to cure his son, Wang Xian was someone who deserved Maniac Ji's respect. I didn't know there was such a website. How interesting. Wang Xian drew a smile on his face as he clicked on the outstanding experts of the underworld. The number 1 on the chart was Nia Wuhen, sect leader of Donghua sacred sect. Number 2 was Hai Jiao, an island owner. There were only 20 names on the outstanding experts chart. Most of them were aces from the sacred sects. There were 8 sacred sects in the underworld which stood tall within the country. Wang Xian read them with interest. Subsequently, he clicked on the missions page. There were all kinds of missions, including assassinations, looking for bodyguards, and seeking spiritual medicine. Moreover, Wang Xian discovered that many missions were related to foreign disputes, such as competing against and even killing experts from other countries. There were some group missions for competing for some treasures. Unbelievable. It's amazing. Wang Xian browsed the individual tasks to think of how he could earn those spiritual stones. Currently, 2 ways could earn spiritual stones within the shortest possible time. One was to save people. Another way was to sell spiritual medicine in exchange for spiritual stones. Both methods were the fastest ways. Wang Xian preferred the second method. He just needed to spend over 10 hours to make some spiritual medicine to exchange for 400 to 500 pieces of spiritual stone. It should not be that difficult to get more than 10,000 pieces of them. Xiao Xian. Just then, Guan Shuqing's surprising voice was heard from the outside. Wang Xian turned around with a smile on his face. Guan Shuqing, in a white skirt, had obviously made an effort to doll herself up. Her skirt, at knee length, was similar to a student skirt, revealing a pair of fair and beautiful legs. She wore a shirt on top with her curvy bust lifted by her garment. Such an attractive beauty. What are you looking at? When Guan Shuqing saw Wang Xian's look, she rolled her eyes, but her face had nothing but smiles. Wang Xian giggled. I haven't seen you for a long time, so I missed you. Since I missed you, I just want to look at you. What a glib tongue. Guan Shuqing pouted her lips slightly as she walked to his side. Wang Xian shut his computer and stood up immediately. He walked to her and said, "Let's go. I'll bring you to the new house that I bought." "Great, let's go. I want to check out the house." Guan Shuqing smiled and nodded. "We need to go back to school to pick up my bike first." "I drove today. My dad just bought me a car the other day." "Great. Come to think of it, I'm not a good boyfriend. I haven't given you any presents before." Now you know. "Should we go to the city center first to buy you some presents?" "Another day. I want to go to your house and see if you're keeping a mistress." How can it be?" Wang Xian and Guan Shuqing laughed as they came to the car park. Guan Shuqing's dad had bought her a Maserati, which was costly too. "Wow, it's so beautiful over here. A house with a sea view." Guan Shuqing walked into the villa and looked around in amazement. Wang Xian drew a smile on his face. "Let's go. I'll take you to the roof. It's more interesting upstairs." Wang Xian brought Guan Shuqing to the roof with enthusiasm. "It's so beautiful here." Standing on the roof of the villa, Guan Shuqing looked out to the sea and exclaimed with happiness, "Hee hee, it's your home from now on. How is it? Do you like it?" Guan Shuqing blushed slightly and did not answer. She kept observing the surroundings with joy. She ran happily on the roof, and her skirt was lifted slightly. Pink. Chapter 182. My broadsword is... Wang Xian expressed that his big D was thirsty. While admiring the beauty of Guan Shuqing, he had an idea in mind, and thoughts started flowing. "Shuqing, let's go and swim in the sea. The weather today is the best and most comfortable for it," Wang Xian said with a smile to Guan Shuqing. "Sure," Guan Shuqing replied happily. However, her expression soon changed to helplessness as she continued, "I forgot to bring my swimsuit." "I have some here. I asked Xiaoyu to buy for you when she was buying one. Come over," Wang Xian replied with a righteous smile. He then brought Guan Shuqing to the changing room. The swimsuits were definitely not bought by Xiaoyu. As an upright man, the swimsuits Wang Xian gave Guan Shuqing were all bikinis. This, Guan Shuqing was shocked as she replied, and her face quickly turned red from embarrassment. "What happened?" Wang Xian asked innocently. The swimsuit is too revealing." "Why is it all?" Guan Shuqing blushed as she asked while pointing to the wardrobe. "Oh, that's true. This sister of mine. Why did she get swimsuits like these? What if others see my gorgeous Shuqing in these? That will be bad. However, don't worry about that. There aren't any outsiders here. How about you just wear it now?" Wang Xian explained while pushing the blame to his younger sister, righteously. There was a flicker in Guan Shuqing's eyes, and the blush spread to her neck. She nodded her head slightly and replied, "All right." She shivered as she took a swimsuit, after which she said to Wang Xian, "Go out first." "Fine, I will go out, I will go out." Wang Xian nodded and smiled. He then walked out. "Wait." However, at this moment, Guan Shuqing called out to him. Wang Xian was stunned for a moment and curiously turned his head around. He saw Guan Shuqing blushing as her eyes started to flicker. She pouted, stared at Wang Xian, and asked, "Will your younger sister get this type of swimsuit?" Wang Xian looked at the swimsuit Guan Shuqing was holding. The swimsuit was skimpy and even had a hole at the bottom. He recalled the recommendation the boss gave when he was buying. Wang Xian's expression changed drastically as he shouted, "Xiaoyu, I asked you to buy a swimsuit. Look at what you've bought. What is this?" He walked out as he pretended to be angry. On the way, he closed the door. Bam! "TSK," Guan Shuqing snorted after she saw through Wang Xian's act. She then gave a supercilious look as she changed for another swimsuit. "Big brother, what are you talking about? Didn't you choose the swimsuits yesterday?" Xiaoyu asked. What are you saying, Xiaoyu? Why aren't you training?" Wang Xian retorted. At this moment, Guan Shuqing overheard the conversation vaguely. PFT, Guan Shuqing could not hold back her laughter further. She then looked for a swimsuit that looked comparably normal. "Wow, you're so gorgeous!" Wang Xian exclaimed. He was lying below the sunshade umbrella. When he saw her walking over, he went up to her to welcome her. TSK, Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes. She wore a black swimsuit, and because the swimsuits Wang Xian bought were only able to cover the important parts, it was exceptionally appealing to the eyes. Wang Xian's eyes lit up as he walked over, pretending that the previous events had not happened. He said, "Let's go and swim in the sea. We can slide down from the slides from the third story. It's really interesting. Come, let me help you." "Okay, today's weather looks great." Guan Shuqing looked up at the sun happily and replied, "Yes, the weather is great today. The seawater is very clear too. Let me help you." Wang Xian replied as he walked over, rubbing his hand. He then extended his arms around Guan Shuqing. While enjoying the skinship with Guan Shuqing, Wang Xian was really satisfied with his choice of swimsuit. This is great. You, Guan. Shu Qing blushed suddenly as she said, can you just use your hands to help me? You don't have to hold me by the bottom too. Wang Xian was stunned. He looked down immediately and saw his little brother sticking out to help Guan Shuqing. Embarrassment was soon written all over his face. I'm in the prime of my youth. He replied while forcing a laugh. After which, Guan Shuqing kept a distance from Wang Xian. She looked at the slide and sat on it enthusiastically. Wang Xian followed behind her. While swimming in the seas, the only shame Wang Xian felt was that Guan Shuqing knew how to swim. Otherwise, it would have been perfect. After playing in the sea until 5 p.m., Wang Xian felt hot all over his body. You can just stay over for the night. At dinner, Wang Xian regained his serious looks and continued. We have a lot of rooms here. Why don't you just stay behind for the night? Guan Shuqing hesitated. There is a family theater in this villa. Let's watch some movies tonight, Wang Xian replied as he saw Guan Shuqing hesitating. Time to strike the metal while it's hot, he thought. Yes, it's possible, but Guan Shuqing looked at Wang Xian and hesitated. In the end, she did not say what she was thinking of. Wang Xian made a big grin. Xiaoyu was eating her food the side while looking at her own brother. She felt that her elder brother had changed and had become a pervert. After dinner, Wang Xian left Guan Shuqing in the living room to rest, while also asking Xiaoyu to chat with her. He immediately rushed to the family theater and made a call. Dahai, hurry up! Send me the seeds! Wang Dahai, who had just picked up the call, was bewildered. He was having dinner with his family and questioned, What seeds are you talking about? Can you be clearer? Japan seeds. Wang Xian exclaimed. His broadsword was already thirsty beyond words. He must succeed tonight. Suddenly, Dahai noticed silence over the dining table. He lifted his head gradually and saw his parents. What nonsense are you spouting? I already have a girlfriend. I have already confessed to Su Qian, and she agreed to it. Wang Dahai walked towards his room as he replied to Wang Xian. What a good brother you have been. Wang Xian praised. Wang Xian saw the few seeds that Wang Dahai sent over. He gave a vile smile on his face as he started to meddle with the player. The family theater was connected to the internet. There were a few comfy sofas at the center of the room, and they could fit a family. Wang Xian slotted the files from Wang Dahai behind Detective Chinatown and selected the autoplay function. He. Wang Xian laughed vilely and revealed a satisfied look. He returned to the living room and talked briefly to Guan Shuqing and Xiaoyu. At around 8 o'clock, Elder Fong pulled Xiaoyu away for training. Let's go, Shuqing. Let's go and watch a movie. Wang Xian said to Guan Shuqing with a smile. All right. Oh, which room will I be staying in tonight? Guan Shuqing asked. Just a room on the 3rd story will do. We have plenty of rooms here. Wang Xian replied with a smile. Let's go. Guan Shuqing nodded with a smile as she replied. We should sleep after the movie. Shall we go shopping tomorrow? Sure, no problem. I will get some gifts for you tomorrow. This is also my duty as your boyfriend. Wang Xian replied. You promised. Guan Shuqing exclaimed. Naturally. Wang Xian smiled as he brought Guan Shuqing to the family theater on the 3rd story. Let's watch Detective Chinatown. Have you watched it before? Wang Xian asked. Not yet. Let's watch this movie. The reviews for it are great. Guan Shuqing replied. Wang Xian nodded his head and the two of them sat on the sofa. He held Guan Shuqing in his embrace lightly throughout the movie. Guan Shuqing did not push him away and she leaned on Wang Xian. It was warm and romantic. The movie started soon after and it was a good comedy show. Guan Shuqing was amused by it. As the movie was ending, Guan Shuqing commented joyously, This movie is so funny. What a great movie. Yes, it was a great movie. Wang Xian replied while squinting his eyes at Guan Shuqing as the movie ended. It's already 10 p.m. Time for bed. Guan Shuqing said shyly when she noticed Wang Xian staring at her. Let me hug you for a while longer. Just a while more. Wang Xian replied softly. All right. Guan Shuqing nodded and replied. She loved the current atmosphere. Sexy female dealer deals the card online, too. At this moment, a familiar piece of music sounded. On the screen, a shocking movie started playing. Chapter 183, Nirvana. The cards were dealt. Totally. Wang Xian was extremely exhilarated. Guan Shuqing did resist in the beginning, but she gave up. She allowed him into her room. Wang Xian was thrilled as he hugged Guan Shuqing fast and furious as soon as he came to her room. The door was opened and closed in one go. Subsequently, it was the most exciting moment for Wang Xian. Even though it was his first time doing this, he had seen a few clips under the influence of Wang Dahai. At the very least, he was not a total noob. After the shrill cries, it was the alluring moan. At 11 p.m., the moon was high in the sky, and the waves washed up onto the shores. It was a beautiful night. Be it outside or inside the villa, it was full of seductive glows and sounds. However, at this time, 2 black figures were dashing towards the villas. This is the place. The one whom young master wants to kill is inside. There are only 3 women and Wang Xian in the house. This lad has some luck with women. Humph! How dare a miracle doctor who is ranked 18 provoke our young Master Lu? Go to hell! As the 2 black figures spoke, they moved in swift actions. With a leap, they entered the villa immediately. Kill them all! A black figure looked into the villa and spoke in a murderous tone. Go! The 2 black figures charged into the villa at a daunting speed. Ring! Suddenly, the bells beside Elder Fong rang without any warning when she was resting in her room. Someone broke in. She immediately opened her eyes and dressed up. With a skip and an arm swing, she picked up her sword and walked out of her room. She cast a glance at the door that was tightly closed at the side where Xiaoyu was resting. With some hesitation, she leapt to the 3rd floor. I should remind Xiaoyu's brother. But when she jumped into the room, she heard the seductive voices within the room. Along with that, it was conversations like, no, stop it, I'm dying, and let's change to another position. Elder Fong stared with her eyes wide open. Subsequently, her face turned red instantly. Ring. At this time, the bells in her hands rang again. She could not stay here any longer. With a leap, she jumped down and walked to the entrance of the villa. Who is it? How dare you barge in like this? Elder Fong drew her long sword with a slightly blushed face as she spoke coldly to the 2 black figures in front of her. I did not expect to see a martial artist here. The 2 black figures narrowed their eyes and launched their rapid and fierce attack. Seeking your own death. Elder Fong had a slight change in her expression. She wielded her long sword and darted out at the 2 figures. Level 8 martial artist. Both black figures were shocked. They exchanged eye contact and wielded the daggers in their hands for another attack. The 2 black figures were level 8 martial artists too. Xiaoyu, who was deep in her sleep, did not know her master was battling with someone outside. All the more, Wang Xian was ignorant about it. He was also battling at that moment. If he was not battling, he could have easily detected the happenings outside. Elder Fong and the 2 black figures fought for 20 minutes. Eventually, they left the place quickly with bewilderment. The women possessed a combat skill that was way beyond their expectations. Who? Who are they? All their strokes were ruthless, and they were out to kill. Elder Fong knit her eyebrows slightly as she looked to the distance. The 2 black figures had long since disappeared in the dark. She pondered for a moment and went back to the villa. In a move, She jumped directly to the second floor. Standing outside, she could still hear some voices from upstairs. Elder Fong blushed once again. She took a deep breath and went back to her room. Third floor within Wang Xian's room. An hour passed. 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. Guan Shuqing felt numbness in her entire body as she was almost blacked out. I can't go on, Xiaoxian. I really can't. Guan Shuqing was almost tearing up as she pleaded. Wang Xian was slightly stunned. I haven't. Xiaoxian, I really can't go on. My lips are swollen. Guan Shuqing shook her head with slight terror. He was too strong, and he lasted for too long. Simply formidable. Wang Xian gave a bitter look on his face. He was not expecting himself to be so formidable. After almost 4 hours, he was still energetic. Could it be because of his dragon nature? He frowned slightly. With a bitter face, he said, Okay, Shuqing. It was my fault today. As Wang Xian looked at the pale-looking Guan Shuqing, his heart ached as he consoled her. No, it was my fault. I didn't. As Guan Shuqing spoke, her voice got softer and softer. Eventually, she fell asleep. Well, it's not good to be too strong either. Wang Xian sighed as he pulled the quilt at the side over Guan Shuqing. Bam! What he did not notice was something from the table dropped onto the bed as he pulled the quilt. It was a piece of blood-red stone, and the stone landed around Guan Shuqing's thighs. There was a trace of blood on the bedsheet. When that piece of blood-red stone fell on it, it slowly emitted a red glow. I shall take a shower. Wang Xian stood up and walked to the bathroom. When the bathroom door was closed, the red stone gave off an immense amount of glow, which encompassed Guan Shuqing slowly. A virtual image of Sazako flashed and disappeared shortly. The Sazako's blood essence was gone too. Guan Shuqing, who was lying on the bed, did not know that she was undergoing her nirvana. The next morning, Wang Xian looked at Guan Shuqing, who was still sleeping. He used his azure dragon energy to heal some of her wounds. Subsequently, he came downstairs quietly. Brother, where is my sister-in-law? Get her to have breakfast with us, said Xiaoyu when she saw Wang Xian walking down. She's still sleeping. We can have it first. Wang Xian giggled and sat down to have his breakfast. Oh, are you going out today? Xiaoyu continued to ask. I don't think so. We should be taking a rest. Wang Xian shook his head when he thought of Guan Shuqing. Elder Fong, next to him, looked at Wang Xian discreetly as she ate her breakfast quietly. After breakfast, Elder Fong suddenly instructed Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu, go upstairs now. I have something to talk to your brother about. Her. Xiaoyu hesitated and was confused for a while before she nodded and headed upstairs. Wang Xian looked at Elder Fong with questions. Yesterday, someone snuck into the villa. They were 2 level 8 martial artists with strong murderous intention. Elder Fong told Wang Xian sternly, I'm afraid there will be stronger ones next time, and I won't be able to stop them. After hearing what Elder Fong said, Wang Xian was stunned. With a frown, he asked, Are they after me? Elder Fong nodded her head slowly. I think so. Wang Xian's eyes turned cold. Leave this to me. I hope they'll return again. Elder Fong was slightly stupefied as she fixed her gaze on Wang Xian without uttering any words. Chapter 184. The Conversation between Guan Shuqing and Lan Qingyue. In one of the rooms on the 3rd floor of the villa, Guan Shuqing's eyelashes twitched a little. She reached around her and frowned. Her body was trembling when she recalled the craziness of last night. She started blushing as she lay on the bed, feeling weakness throughout her body. That was too tiring. She felt that she would need 2 to 3 days of rest to recuperate. Buzz, buzz. A mobile phone vibrated beside her just as she started imagining things. She stumped for a while before reaching for the mobile phone. It was Wang Xian's phone. When she saw the message, she was taken aback. The message was from Lan Qingyue. There wasn't much in the message and just a sentence. Thank you for your help at the auction the other day. If you have any jewelry in the future, could you sell it to our deep-sea jewelry? Guan Shuqing frowned slightly. She did not reply, but instead quietly placed the mobile phone back. A few moments later, Wang Xian walked into the room and saw that Guan Shuqing had woken up. He immediately said, Shuqing, you are awake. Are you hungry? I have made some chicken soup for you. Let me get it for you. Sure. Guan Shuqing looked at her man, and her eyes were filled with tenderness. Soon, Wang Xian walked into the room again with a bowl of chicken soup in his hands. Come have some. It helps in your recovery. Thank you, Xiao Xian. Guan Shuqing replied. She drank a mouthful before leaning against Wang Xian's legs. Let me feed you. Wang Xian's expressions were full of tenderness too, as he fed her slowly. All right, I am full now. Let me rest a little more. It's all your fault from yesterday, Guan Shuqing said. Guan Shuqing lay down as she rolled her eyes at Wang Xian. Together. Let's lie down together. Wang Xian tried to snuggle into the bed ecstatically after hearing what Guan Shuqing said. You. Stay away. Guan Shuqing exclaimed. She was scared of him. Wang Xian was slightly disappointed with Guan Shuqing's reactions. Haven't your injuries recovered yet? Guan Shuqing nearly cried out after hearing him. Her external injuries had recovered, but she had not recovered from exhaustion. No, get out. You are not allowed on the bed. Get out, Guan Shuqing remarked. Wang Xian was speechless and walked out feeling disappointed. How should I deal with this? Guan Shuqing started pondering as she looked at the back view of the leaving Wang Xian. I cannot satisfy Wang Xian. If this continues on, he will. Guan Shuqing was lost. She lay on the bed and fell into a daze. After pondering for some time, Guan Shuqing made up her mind. She picked up Wang Xian's mobile phone. On second thought, she decided to use her own phone and look for Lan Qingyue's on WeChat instead. Are you there? She typed. Guan Shuqing bit her lips as she looked at her mobile phone. Yes? Is there anything? Lan Qingyue replied. In the deep-sea building in the city center of Rivertown, Lan Qingyue was busily handling the paperwork. She looked drained. She was surprised when she saw Guan Shuqing's message and frowned. Do you like Xiao Xian? Guan Shuqing asked after pondering for a while. Is there any purpose to your question at this juncture? Lan Qingyue replied calmly while taking a deep breath. I believe Xiao Xian is in love with you, too, Guan Shuqing continued. And then, Lan Qingyue smiled bitterly after looking at this message. She supported her forehead with her hand. What if I'm agreeable to letting you stay beside Xiao Xian? Are you willing? Guan Shuqing replied immediately. Lan Qingyue was stunned when she saw the message. She bit her lips and replied, I'm already out of the picture. Besides that, aren't you there for Xiao Xian already? Are you willing if the three of us stay together? The truth is that I also don't want to share him with you. However, I'm out of other options. Guan Shuqing sent out this message bitterly. She didn't want to share her husband with anyone else. However, when she thought of the craziness of Wang Xian from the previous night, she was aghast. Furthermore, as one who was born in a well-to-do family, she knew clearly. Even her own father was having an affair outside. There were few men who were rich but loyal. Moreover, Wang Xian was too outstanding. Even if Wang Xian didn't think about it, there would be lots of women trying to approach him. She should be active instead of passive. Although Lan Qingyue was once her competitor, she admired Lan Qingyue. In the office, when Lan Qingyue saw Guan Shuqing's message, she was shocked and stared at it blankly. All I want now is to stay beside him, Lan Qingyue murmured. She looked down and continued, however, everything is too late now. She wiped her tears and replied, I am getting engaged soon. What? Guan Shuqing sprang up upon seeing the message. She hurriedly continued, You are getting engaged? Do you mean it? Yes, it's true. Shao Xian, and you will have my blessing. I'm really envious of you. Goodbye. Guan Shuqing was shocked by the last message from Lan Qingyue. She doubted, how could Lan Qingyue be engaged? How can this be possible? Her expression changed, and she hesitated. She then looked at the clothes that were ripped into pieces. Shao Xian, Shao Xian! Guan Shuqing shouted weakly. Huh? Wang Xian, who was surfing the underworld website, immediately rushed over. What's the matter, Shuqing? What happened? Wang Xian walked over and asked caringly, Do you know that Lan Qingyue is getting engaged? Guan Shuqing asked Wang Xian. What? Wang Xian was shocked by what he heard, and his expression changed drastically. Guan Shuqing saw the changes in his expression and asked, Shao Xian, do you like Lan Qingyue too? Wang Xian smiled bitterly while looking at Guan Shuqing. He replied, I do feel a little sorry towards her. Fine, fine. You don't have to explain it to me. Guan Shuqing rolled her eyes before continuing. I wanted to ask her if she would like to be with you too initially. However, I had not expected her to be getting engaged. This isn't right. Based on my understanding of Lan Qingyue, she wouldn't abandon herself to despair just because Shao Xian hasn't chosen her. Why would she suddenly be getting engaged? Furthermore, from my conversation with her a while ago, she must still be in love with you. However, she seemed to have something she couldn't tell me. Guan Shuqing analyzed seriously. A woman understood another woman best. Furthermore, the sixth sense of woman was usually very strong. Wang Xian was startled after hearing Guan Shuqing, and he opened her mouth briefly. What does she mean? Okay, Shao Xian, I am tired and I want to rest. If you can convince Lan Qingyue, I won't object. Guan Shuqing lay on the bed, closing her eyes as she spoke. Wang Xian's expression changed again. He looked at Guan Shuqing, walked over and gave her a kiss. He took back his phone and left the room with questions. After looking at Wang Xian, closing the door lightly, Guan Shuqing opened her eyes. PFF, you are a teddy, a big teddy. After walking out of the room, Wang Xian started to frown. He recalled the day when he met Lan Qingyue at the auction house and the conversation of those around. Chapter 185, Lan Family. Mo Qinglong. Check on the recent events that happened to Lan family, and check on the tyrannical sword, Lu family too. Back on the roof at the villa, Wang Xian commanded Mo Qinglong over the phone. Yes, Dragon King. What strength do we have now in the dragon sect? Wang Xian continued to ask Mo Qinglong. Dragon King, we have 50 Dragonians at level 8, while Mo Yuan is already a half step to inborn. Mo Qinglong answered. Okay, I got it. Have you brought the 9 venomous sea snakes back to the sea? Yes, they are safe in the sea now. Great. After Wang Xian hung up the phone, he looked at the message sent by Lan Qingyue. He immediately asked, Are you a willing party in this marriage? Sometimes you can't get what you want, and you can't refuse to do something when you don't want to. About 5 minutes later, Lan Qingyue gave a double-edged reply. I'll get the things I want, and no one can force me to do something that I don't want to do. I'll have control of my own fate. Wang Xian stared at the sea in the distance, drawing the corner of his lips. At the same time, 2 middle-aged men were standing beside Lu Feiyun with respect in a manner at Hailing Province. Useless things. You've got 2 people, and you can't even kill a level 8 martial artist. Lu Feiyun screamed impatiently at the 2 middle-aged men beside him. Young master, her swordsmanship is formidable, and she was at the peak of level 8. We were afraid we might draw attention if we got into a tangle with her for too long. Both middle-aged men explained with an awful look. Oh, formidable swordsmanship? Lu Feiyin drew his lips slightly. Last night, I finally deciphered the art of Sword Celestial from the authentic calligraphy of Li Bai and obtained Sword Celestial's inheritance. Soon, I'll become a level 8 martial artist. I would like to meet and spar with the lady you said to be strong in her swordsmanship. However, I'm too busy lately, and I don't have the time to play with them. Young master, you obtained Sword Celestial's inheritance. I'm sure you'll make it to the outstanding young heroes chart one day and overlook the rest of the heroes. The two of them quickly flattered him as they were shocked. Haha, of course. Outstanding young heroes. My tyrannical sword and I will ascend to the top. Lu Feiyin laughed. Congratulations, young master. Both of them quickly licked his boots again. Humph, he's just a miracle doctor ranked 18. Both of you will make a trip with Butler Zhao and Lu Sen the night after tomorrow. You must kill them for me. Otherwise, don't come back, said Lu Feiyin coldly. Yes, young master. We'll deliver his head to you, the two middle-aged quickly answered. Lu Feiyin waved his hand and smirked. Wang Xian, Miracle Dr. Wang, and you, Lan Qingyue, if it were not for your billions worth of assets. Do you think the Lu family would go all the way to help you out? You are just a plaything to me. Since a plaything is not obedient, I'll make sure you listen to me. Lu Feiyin displayed a haughty look. With the inheritance of Sword Celestial, he would become one of the most formidable Sword Celestials in the world soon. 2 days passed. These 2 days, Guan Shuqing had been resting while Wang Xian was waiting quietly in the villa. The school would open tomorrow, and Wang Xian took a month's leave. Dragon King, the information you wanted is here. In the afternoon, 2 figures jumped up to the roof like ghosts when they reported to Wang Xian under the beach umbrella. Wang Xian reached and took the information. It was about tyrannical sword Lu family and Lan family. 1 inborn expert, 4 half-step to inborn experts, and 13 level 9 martial artists. No wonder they are the first-class force. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as he read Lu family's information. The entire document had detailed records of the strength in the tyrannical sword Lu family. The only one that could evenly match with them in the entire Hailing Province was Ancient Fist Sect. In Hailing Province, no one dared to offend Lu family. When Wang Xian picked up the information about Lan family, an invitation card was caught in between the papers. Wang Xian opened it up. It was an invitation for an engagement party sent by Lan family to other wealthy families. His eyes turned cold as he continued to read. Deep Sea Jewelry and Lan family had taken a hammering under the Zhou Jewelry and Lingyue sect just recently. First, they took a loss in a billion-dollar investment project in Dongqing Province. Next, they were targeted by the Zhou Jewelry. This caused a huge blow to the Lan family. In desperation, Lan family had to join hands with Lu family to stand up against the Zhou Jewelry and Lingyue sect's hammering. However, Lu family requested Lan Qingyue to marry to their family. Tomorrow, Wang Xian stood up slowly. Lu family will not be a concern anymore. You may leave. Wang Xian gestured for them to leave and pondered quietly. Night fell when Xiao Yu, Guan Shuqing, and Elder Fong were watching soap operas downstairs. Wang Xian was thinking of his plan for tomorrow. Should he inform Lan Qingyue in advance? Should he ask for Lan Qingyue's advice? At about 10 p.m., Xiao Yu and the rest went back to their rooms to sleep. Guan Shuqing did not allow Wang Xian to enter her room. Without any choice, he went to the next room. Around 11 p.m., Elder Fong woke up in her room as she looked at the bells ringing nonstop at the bedside. With a swift movement, she opened her door. Elder Fong, let's do it together. Just then, a voice came from upstairs. She lifted her chin and saw Wang Xian looking over with a smile. Elder Fong paused before she nodded. Wang Xian made a quiet jump into the living room. Indeed, Miracle Dr. Wang is not that simple. Looking at the way he moved, Elder Fong thought to herself. She had always believed that the mysterious miracle Dr. Wong was not someone simple. Last time, they sent 2 level 8 martial artists over here. This time they will definitely send more formidable people over. Elder Fong reminded Wang Xian. Don't worry, I've got everything prepared. Wang Xian chuckled and looked outside. Voila! The door was opened and the 4 black, middle-aged men walked into the villa. I have been waiting for you guys for many days. Finally, you guys came. Wang Xian gazed at the 4 people in front of him with smiles on his face. Her. The 4 black figures hesitated as they swept their watchful gazes around. Just the 2 of them? A middle-aged man narrowed his eyes and said coldly, Kill them and behead the man. The middle-aged man in the middle spoke in a cold and harsh tone. What's the hurry? I still want to ask who sent you guys over. Wang Xian wore a smiley face as if everything seemed like a breeze to him. Kill. However, the quartet did not hesitate at all. With swift movements, they launched an attack at them. You are really asking for it. Wang Xian looked at the 4 black figures with an icy look. Chapter 186, Dragon King's Order. You guys are courting your death. Just as Elder Fong was preparing to pull out her long sword to attack, a voice pierced through the silence. The 4 black figures wavered and looked at their surroundings attentively. How dare you barge into the forbidden grounds of the Dragon King? How audacious! The voice sounded again, and a shadow appeared in front of the 4 black figures, staring at them coldly. You! The 4 black figures were shocked by the sudden appearance of an old man and instinctively staggered back several steps. You? Who are you? Oh no, we are ambushed. The 4 black figures stared at the old man who appeared suddenly, feeling aghast. Elder Fong also perked up and stared at the old man in front of her attentively. To her astonishment, she didn't manage to see how this old man had appeared. Cough, cough. The Dragon King is asking you guys a question. If you aren't answering, I'll just have to make you talk. Mo Qinglong stretched his arms out slowly. The 4 black figures looked at Mo Qinglong with heavy expressions. As Mo Qinglong stretched his arms up, a devilish force swept towards them. Shit, he isn't someone we can stand up against. Run. Hurry, run. The 4 black figures were petrified. At the instant the old man raised his arms, they felt the fear of death creeping upon them. Can you escape? Mo Qinglong commented mockingly as waves of dark energy entered the body of the black figures. The 4 froze and horrified expressions were seen on their faces. To everyone's astonishment, the old man was able to control their bodies just by raising his arms. Following which, their eyes were shrouded by darkness and their bodies stiffened. This is the Devil Path, an inborn expert. Elder Fong was horrified to see Mo Qinglong controlling the 4 men through such a terrifying method. Devil Path. Moreover, he was a powerful expert at the inborn realm. An inborn expert who practices the Devil Path takes orders from Wang Xian? Could it be that he also practices the Devil Path? Elder Fong thought. Speak. Who sent you guys here? Wang Xian asked the 4 men coldly. It's our young master. The 4 black figures replied together. Who is your young master? Wang Xian continued asking. Young Master Lu Feiyun. He wanted us to come and claim your head and kill off everyone in the villa. He wanted this as his present for his engagement ceremony the next day. They replied, Lu Feiyun. Fine, fine. Wang Xian squinted his eyes as murderous intent flashed past his eyes. He didn't expect these men to be sent by Lu Feiyun. Furthermore, he ordered these men to decapitate him. Since that's the case, I will send you a congratulatory gift tomorrow. Kill them, he said coldly to Mo Qinglong. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong waved his arms, and the 4 collapsed on the ground. Elder Fong's heart skipped a beat as she saw the developments. She looked at Wang Xian with her eyes flickering. Get everyone in Rivertown to go to the Lan family's villa tomorrow. Yes, Dragon King. Mo Qinglong nodded, respectfully. Shifting his stance, he disappeared from sight. Dragon King? Elder Fong thought to herself. Elder Fong heard how the terrifying inborn expert addressed Wang Xian. She had a lot of questions in mind, but didn't act rashly. You are going to the Lan family tomorrow? Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Lu family hold their engagement ceremony, Elder Fong reminded Wang Xian. I know, Wang Xian replied. He continued calmly, Elder Fong, you should go get some rest. Elder Fong looked at Wang Xian once again. She hesitated, but still went back into her room. She pondered for some time before taking out her mobile phone and calling sect leader Tang. Elder Fong, did something happen for you to call me at this time? The voice of sect leader Tang could be heard from the other end of the phone call. Sect leader, I have a very important thing for you, Elder Fong said solemnly. Just say it. Sect leader Tang got serious and answered. It's about Xiao Yu's elder brother, Miracle Dr. Wang. Elder Fong took a deep breath and continued. The Lu family from the tyrannical sword sent assassins to assassinate him tonight. However, a terrifying old man appeared and addressed Miracle Dr. Wang as the Dragon King. The old man uses devilish techniques and is definitely an inborn expert. With a wave of his hand, he murdered 2 level 9 martial artists and 2 level 8 martial artists. Furthermore, Miracle Dr. Wang is preparing to meet the Lan family tomorrow. My guess is that he will be confronting the Lu family. Lu family of the tyrannical sword, inborn expert, Dragon King. Sect leader Tang's expression got worse as Elder Fong spoke. He replied, I knew Miracle Doctor wouldn't be simple since he can take out a level 4 spiritual medicine effortlessly. However, I hadn't expected an inborn expert to address him as Dragon King. The Lu family only has an inborn expert. Since Miracle Dr. Wang dares to go, he should have enough confidence. Sect leader Tang's eyes flickered as he continued. Miracle Dr. Wang and Xiao Yu, I will bring some men to the Lan family tomorrow. Elder Fong was stunned after hearing sect leader Tang. Nonetheless, she replied respectfully, Yes, sect leader. Dragon King and an inborn expert. Sect leader Tang started to ponder. Tonight was fated to be an eventful night for the people of Rivertown. None dare to defy once the order of the Dragon King is issued. The Rin family head replied respectfully to the Dark Shadow. The Dark Shadow nodded, his body moved and disappeared from the luxurious villa. The order from the Dragon King had been issued. Rivertown will be chaotic once again. Rin family head said as he looked at the Dark Shadow disappearing. He could feel a faint pressure from the Dark Shadow. However, he knew that this was just an ordinary member of the Dragon Sect. Tomorrow is the day the Lan family and the Lu family host their engagement ceremony. It seems like the Dragon King is targeting the Lu family. The Rin family head eyes flickered, and he shouted to those outside, Come in! Family head. 2 people rushed in and addressed him respectfully. Gather all the elites of the Rin family. Follow me and obey the orders of the Dragon King tomorrow. Yes, family head. The 2 members were shocked and nodded their heads. Old Duan got dressed early in the morning and gave his orders to the elites of his family. Tomorrow we shall obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Obey the command of the Dragon King. Each and every ancient martial arts family from Rivertown answered in unison and would obey the command of the Dragon King. At the Qin family, old Qin dressed up and laughed heartily. Brother Wang Xian wants to blow this up. With the Dragon Sect and everyone from Rivertown, there's no reason to be scared of the Lu family. Haha, incredible, incredible. Once the order of the Dragon King is issued, no one in Rivertown dares to disobey. The news spread to every elite and wealthy man in Rivertown. Old Qin from the Qin family had told them personally, "The order of the Dragon King had been issued, and they shall obey the order tomorrow." Although this group of people did not understand much about the Dragon King, and some might not have heard of him, Old Qin and those wealthy men with connections with ancient martial arts families had all received the news. Tomorrow they shall head to the Lan family and take orders from the Dragon King. At night, the whole of Rivertown shook just because of a person's order. The night passed by peacefully. However, turmoil had started to brew. So, the Dragon King has the dragon sect backing him. "Dragon King, I have come too." At the top floor of a building, a long-haired man stood there and spoke plainly. Chapter 187. I'm Wang Xian 1. The next morning at Flowing Water Villa. Flowing Water Villa was a private club in Rivertown with a horse racing track, golf course, and swimming pool. This was a high-end private club, also a high-end banquet venue. Lan family, second to Qin family in Rivertown, was indeed a billion-dollar group. Even though the stock price of Lan family had fallen sharply in the recent period, they still maintained their status. No ordinary companies or groups could easily shake Lan family status. Besides, they had their foundation. It would be difficult for them to fall. Today was a rather important day for the entire Lan family. Lan family would be joining hands with the tyrannical sword of the Lu family from the hailing province. To put it bluntly, Lan family was getting tyrannical sword Lu family as their backing. Tyrannical sword of the Lu family possessed formidable strength in hailing province. Their family assets had reached hundreds of billions. But this was secondary. Lu family was strong in its mighty strength. In the entire hailing province, it was scarce to have someone who dared to offend the tyrannical sword of the Lu family. Hence, the political marriage of Lan family's future heir, Lan Qingyue, and tyrannical sword of the Lu family, Little Sword Celestial, was a big deal for many people. Early in the morning, many luxury cars were parked outside the Flowing Water Villa. All elites were well dressed as they headed to the villa. Second Master Lu, hello. Second Master Lu, hello. A middle-aged man put on a smile as he stood at the entrance, greeting all the guests. Haha, thank you for traveling so far to attend Xiao Yun's engagement ceremony. Second Master Lu laughed as he greeted the guests politely. You're welcome. It's young Master Lu's engagement ceremony. We must be here for the celebration. It's our honor to be here. That's right. Since young Master Lu is of the Hailing Province, the friends from Hailing Province must join in the celebration. The middle-aged men and elderly men quickly replied. Haha, thank you everyone. Second Master Lu cupped his fist and smiled. Many people drove their luxurious cars with presents from Hailing Province. They were heading towards the Flowing Water Villa joyfully. Those wealthy families, martial artist families, and sects had to come and showed their support, since it was a political marriage between Lu family and Lan family. Besides, it was the Little Sword Celestial who was getting engaged. That's Magnate Gua. He's in the top 5 tycoons in Hailing Province. I didn't expect he would be here personally. They are from the Hushan sect of Hailing Province, a second-class sect. That's Wu family of Hailing Province, another second-class family. Gosh, so many people actually came to support Lu family. If this ceremony were to be held in Hailing Province, I believe there would be more people. It was the right choice to have this political marriage. Lu family's strength in Hailing Province was too formidable. A few people from the Lan family were in disbelief when they saw the stream of people who walked in. Lu family was simply too strong. Lan family found themselves a strong backing with the political marriage despite making some sacrifices themselves too. Ah, Xiao, have we sent out all our invitations? A middle-aged man asked the woman next to him. Yes, we did. We sent them to all well-known people, including the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown. It's just that I don't think the ancient martial artist families would turn up since we have no contact with them. The woman frowned. Lawn family was considered to be widely known in Rivertown. They also invited many people since the future heir of the family was getting engaged. Even though they could not compare their lineup with Liu family, they should not lose out at the very least. I wonder if Qin family will turn up. The middle-aged man hesitated as he frowned and spoke while observing the guests from Liu family. I think someone will come. It's just that we're not sure about that person's status. The woman pondered and said, Forget it. Let's not think about these things. We're still far from Liu family. Once we finish this engagement, we will not be afraid of the Zhou and Lingyue sect. The middle-aged man said as cold radiance flashed in his eyes. The magnates from Rivertown are here. Let's receive them. The middle-aged man and woman were the parents of Lan Qingyue. He looked at those magnates from Rivertown and went up to greet them with smiles. Director Lan, congratulations! One by one, the Rivertown magnates greeted him with smiling faces. However, their smiles seemed to be odd and peculiar. Director Li, welcome. Thank you for attending my daughter's engagement ceremony. The middle-aged greeted him with smiles. You're welcome. Director Li gave an awkward smile. Director Lan, congratulations. Thank you, Director Lan, for inviting me. I must thank all of you for attending the ceremony. Please come in. Looking at the Rivertown magnates, Director Lan put on a smiling face and spoke fervently. The group of Rivertown magnates chuckled and walked inside. Dragon King. Two magnates who knew each other went inside. One of them spoke softly to a middle-aged man. The other middle-aged man nodded. It was Dragon King's order. Old Duan called me personally and said he'll show up too. Hu family head asked me to come. Old Qin informed me to come over. All elites in the entire Rivertown came over under an order. I bet Lan family has yet to know about this. Who dares to tip them off? The group of magnates went inside. Old Qin is here, personally. At this time, Lan family's people who were receiving the guests were thrilled when they saw Old Qin and other well-known magnates walking over. I think they are taking account of Liu family. What a great influence for a first-class force. Old Qin actually turned up personally for our political marriage with the Liu family. Old Qin, it's our honor for you to come here personally. Thank you very much. The parents of Lan Qingyue quickly went up and spoke to him with smiling faces. I had to come this time. Old Qin greeted them politely with a double-edged comment. It's my honor to have you attend a junior's engagement ceremony. Old Qin, this way. The middle-aged man and the lady welcomed him inside. Carry on with what you're doing. We can go over by ourselves. Old Qin smiled and waved them off as he led a group of people inside. Just then, a middle-aged guy from Lan family exclaimed, those are the ancient martial art families, Rin family, Shui family, Duan family, and Hu family. Gosh, the influence of the Liu family is too overwhelming. All the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown are here. We don't have a second-class force in Rivertown, not to mention a first-class force. Hence, no one will dare to provoke us since we're in-laws with the Liu family. Besides, they need to give us some face, so they are here to make peace with us today. You're right. We'll enjoy a higher status in Rivertown in the future. This engagement was the right decision to make. Chapter 188. I'm Wang Xian, too. The members of the Lan family were conversing joyously. The number of people who had attended this wedding was completely beyond their expectations. Old Qin had come personally, and the majority of the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown had already arrived. This made them feel extremely proud and lucky at the same time. They felt lucky that they were having a wedding with the Liu family. This political marriage would bring the Lan family countless intangible benefits. Even the ancient martial artist families in Rivertown are wary of the Liu family and are here to show goodwill. This political marriage is worth it. A young member of the Lan family commented happily. The surrounding members of the Lan family also smiled radiantly. As the guests entered the villa one after another, the Lon family noticed that the majority of the wealthy men and ancient martial artist families of Rivertown had all arrived. There were a total of 300 to 400 of them. This was undoubtedly a huge number. Together with the guests from the Lon family and the Liu family, the number of people attending this engagement ceremony was over 1,000. Within a room in the flowing water villa, Lan Qingyue sat in front of the dressing table without emotions. Behind her, several maids were helping her put up exquisite makeup and adjusting her beautiful white engagement ceremony dress. Sister Lan, you should be a little more thrilled. Today's your big day. Do you know how many people are out there? There are at least 1,000 of them. Oh my God! I heard that the wealthy people in Rivertown have all arrived. Moreover, there are many influential figures from Hailing Province. The Liu family is truly incredible in Hailing Province. Moreover, Liu Feiyun's fame has spread far and wide despite his young age, and many refer to him as the Little Sword Celestial. Qingyue are really blessed. Beside her, a young lady commented. Lan Qingyue's eyes flickered and were filled with fatigue and indignance. She looked at the reflection of herself in the mirror. She was beautiful, but she didn't like the white dress. She preferred a red wedding gown. However, she did not say it out loud. This was because she wasn't a willing party to this engagement. If it wasn't for the Lan family, or if the person she liked had the same feelings for her, she would have never agreed to the engagement. Qingyue, are you done? At this moment, the door to the room opened. Liu Feiyun was wearing a neat set of attire. This attire wasn't a suit, but a family costume of the Liu family. Slightly above the chest area, the word Liu was imprinted on it. There was also an image of an ethereal flower embroidered onto the costume. He had a sword behind him that indicated his identity as a member of the Liu family who is known for their tyrannical sword. His attire wasn't typical for an engagement ceremony, but it was, in fact, the most formal costume of the Liu family. I'll be done right away. Lan Qingyue nodded her head slowly and replied without turning her head over. Seeing how she reacted, a cold look flashed in the eyes of Liu Feiyun. As he looked at Lan Qingyue from top to bottom, vile thoughts arose in his mind. The engagement ceremony will begin in half an hour. Qingyue, get dressed properly. We have a lot of people that have come from Hailing Province. Liu Feiyun said. His lips curved into a smile as he turned around and left. Qingyue, look at how charming Liu Feiyun is. You and he are the real perfect couple, the young lady by her side commented. Lan Qingyue didn't respond to it and simply looked into the mirror with hollow eyes. The golf course of Flowing Water Villa had been modified into a large engagement ceremony field. On it, there were over 100 exquisite tables with delicious food on them. At the center, there was a pathway laid by the red carpet. At the front of it, there was an elevated platform set up for the engagement ceremony. The stage was huge, and the place looked just like the launch event of major, popular brands. Although it was outdoors, the surrounding decoration was luxurious with a tinge of romance. At this moment, the guests of the Liu family and the Lan family were seated to the left and right respectively. Sect Leader Tang, please come in. I had not expected Sect Leader Tang to attend our Lan family's wedding. It is truly our honor. At this moment, several members of the Lan family welcomed Sect Leader Tang, and a dozen members of the Thistles and Thorns sect enthusiastically before leading them to their seats. Director Lan, how could the Thistles and Thorns sect stay out of today's event? Sect Leader Tang looked across the crowd from Rivertown and commented with a faint smile. Yes. Thank you for coming. Everyone, please. The middle-aged man and the other members of the Lan family replied joyously. They had never expected Sect Leader Tang of the Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province to lead their members to attend this engagement ceremony. This was a second-class force. Who would have expected the Lan family to have so many guests? The sect leader of Thistles and Thorns sect from the southern province is even here personally. Moreover, the Qin family and the majority of ancient martial artist families from Rivertown have all come. Haha, they aren't doing this for the Lan family. Instead, they are showing respect to the tyrannical sword of the Lu family. If the Lan family could really invite them over, they wouldn't be so badly bullied by Lingyue sect. That's true. Those people from the southern province and Rivertown wouldn't be here if not for the Lu family. To the left of the crowd from Rivertown, the guests of Lu family were looking at the guests of the Lan family while whispering softly. Around the table closest to the stage, 7 to 8 members of the Lu family and Lan family sat around. An old man with a white beard sat on the seat for the host. He looked around satisfactorily and said to the old man beside him, "The Lan family sure has a lot of guests." "Ha, old Lu, I'm sure you know that they are here mainly because of you," the old man from the Lan family replied courteously. "Haha, that's true. The tyrannical sword of the Lu family is still rather influential around the surrounding provinces. Your granddaughter is really lucky to be marrying my grandson." The old man with a white beard wasn't humble at all as he remarked arrogantly. "Yes, yes," the old man from the Lan family nodded his head. A tinge of embarrassment flashed past his eyes. The other members of the Lan family simply exchanged pleasantries with the other members of the Lu family. The difference between the strength of the two parties had determined the difference in their status. Just as they were conversing, the guests around them consciously and unconsciously looked over. Who would have expected old Lu to be here? He's the pillar of the Lu family. Old Lu rarely shows up in the Lu family's villa. He probably rushed over for his beloved grandson's engagement ceremony. Old Lu has reached the inborn realm for over 20 years. His strength is probably even more horrifying at this moment. The crowd discussed softly. With an inborn expert sitting right there, it was hard for them to not pay attention to this area. "It seems like I'm not too late." At this moment, a young man walked over slowly. He looked towards the Lu family with a smile before walking to the location at the front. When the ancient martial artists of Rivertown saw Wang Xian, they held their breath as they saw him walking ahead. And he sat around the table with old Qin, old Duan, old Shui, sect leader Tang, and others. Chapter 189. I'm Wang Xian 3. "Thank you all," Wang Xian said, and smiled as he looked at the few people at the same table. Wang Xian already called us to come. How can we not turn up?" Old Qin smiled back at Wang Xian. "The bride and groom are out. Today's main characters are here." Just then, some voices came from the side. Wang Xian spun his head around and peered towards the back. Everyone turned around too. The clean-looking, white gown with a refined makeup turned Lan Qingyue into a ravishing beauty. Every move of hers was giving off a unique vibe. Lu Feiyun, beside her, was in a blue suit with a long sword behind him. He looked around with a face full of smiles. His dignified demeanor and confident appearance made him an elegant man too. They were made for each other. The man is dashing while the lady is striking. Haha, such a perfect match. The crowd was pouring endless praise when they saw the attractive couple walking on the red carpet. Let's welcome the couple who are walking towards their happiness. A renowned host was holding onto a microphone with smiles on the front stage. Lu Feiyun, 28 years old, is well known as Little Sword Celestial, who is a well-mannered and impressive gentleman. Lan Qingyue, 22 years old. She's already the general manager at Deep Sea Jewelry at such a young age, and she's a famous talent in Rivertown. Today, they will be tying the knot over here. As the host introduced the couple, soft music was played. All the guests kept quiet as they watched smilingly. She's still so beautiful. Wang Xian looked at Lan Qingyue and displayed a faint grin. Upon hearing his comment, old Qin and old Shui threw him a gaze as they widened their smiles. Even heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. Look, they're here. As they were approaching, the host said with smiles, "Please face our friends and relatives. Today, they will be witnessing the couple tying the knot of a lifetime." Lu Fei Yun turned around as he grinned from ear to ear. Lan Qingyue followed suit too. "Thank you for attending the engagement ceremony of Mr. Lu Fei Yun and Ms. Lan Qingyue. Today will mark a new beginning for the couple. Let's give them our most sincere congratulations. Today, all of you will witness the engagement of the couple." Even though this is not the wedding ceremony, getting engaged is equivalent to proposing. I wonder if the fiancé has prepared anything. The host looked at Lu Fei Yun with smiles. Lu Fei Yun returned a grin to him. "Of course." "Then let your show begin," the host joked. An engagement was different from a wedding. The fiancé had to propose on the grand stage. Lu Fei Yun drew his lips slightly. After he took 2 slow steps backward, he swung his arm, and the long sword behind him was drawn into the air. He threw his arm up, grabbed the long sword, and began his sword dance. In amongst flowers with a bottle of wine. "I drink alone, for there is no one close by. I raise my chalice to invite the shining moon. The moon casts me a shadow, and we have a triad, since the moon never learns to drink. My shadow absent-mindedly shall follow me. Nevertheless, I have them around me. Enjoying the moments, just like how it should be. I sing, and the moon lingers. I dance, and my shadow whirls under. In my sober moments, we rejoice together, and we bid goodbye as soon as I am drunk. Such fellowship shall last despite our parted ways. Only heaven knows when we shall come together again." A sword danced in front of the audience. As Lu Fei Yun wielded his sword, he recited one of Li Bai's renowned poems, "Drinking Alone Under the Moon." His sword was gleaming with a faint and wavering glow from the moon, which was beautiful and extravagant. The audience was taken aback by Lu Fei Yun's swordplay, such that they could not hide their shocking expressions. Little Sword Celestial's swordsmanship seems to be much stronger than what the rumors claimed it to be. Gosh, this is impressive. His sword seems to have drawn a picture in the air. Young Master Lu's swordsmanship is getting more powerful. He lives up to the name of Little Sword Celestial. Haha, awesome. It's indeed the art of Sword Celestial. Well done. An elder with a full white beard was sitting in the front row, looking ebullient when he gazed at the strokes Lu Fei Yun displayed. Lu Fei Yun was even more proud when he noticed the surprised looks from the audience. He then turned to Lan Qingyue. Wine and Moon were the most loyal companions throughout Li Bai's entire life. I hope, Qingyue, you can become my most loyal companion in my life too. Just recently, I obtained the Sword Celestial's inheritance, and I'll rise to the highest level in no time. As my wife, you'll also enjoy a high status with me. As Lu Fei Yun spoke, he pointed the long sword into the air, and a diamond ring appeared on the top. He threw his long sword back into its scabbard and took the diamond ring as he gazed smilingly at Lan Qingyue. Qingyue, will you be my companion? Lu Fei Yun looked at the ravishing Lan Qingyue. Wow, this is so romantic. If someone were to propose to me like this, I'd say yes immediately. All the females in the crowd were falling head over heels for him. Lu Fei Yun, who performed swordplay, was simply too romantic and touching. I didn't expect that young Master Lu could obtain the Sword Celestial, Li Bai's inheritance. No wonder the sword dance was beautiful, yet ferocious. What a surprise! I heard that he won the auction of Li Bai's authentic calligraphy. He's such a talent to have comprehended its essence in such a short time. He even obtained the inheritance. He's such a gifted man. Given young Master Lu's talent, he will take over old Lu's position and become the next-inborn Sword Celestial of the Lu family. When the audience heard what Lu Fei Yun said, they were struck by surprise. The talent displayed by Lu Fei Yun was daunting. Lan Qingyue fell into a trance-like state as she gazed at Lu Fei Yun and the diamond ring in his hand. A different phase of life would begin as soon as she received the ring. Immense bitterness filled her eyes as she closed them. Upon seeing how Lan Qingyue was responding, Lu Feiyun frowned slightly. Impatience flashed in his eyes as he sounded stiff. "Qinyu, will you say yes to me?" "Of course not." Just when Lan Qingyue opened her eyes to accept her fate, a voice cut the silent air in the engagement ceremony. Upon hearing the voice, Lan Qingyue jerked slightly as she spun around with disbelief. She stared hard at Wang Xian. An abrupt voice had stunned everyone from the Lan and Lu family. Lu Feiyun, on the stage, turned around immediately. When he saw Wang Xian, he was slightly taken aback. Soon after, he glared at Wang Xian with a murderous face. "Who are you, brat? How dare you spout nonsense here? Seeking your own doom?" A middle-aged man who was sitting beside the white-bearded old man stood up. He stared at Wang Xian with a sharp and ferocious look as he shouted at him. The white-bearded old man swept his gaze across Wang Xian before he turned to look at the seniors from Lan family unhappily. Apparently, he was displeased with the fact that the person who had interrupted was a guest of the Lan family. "I'm Wang Xian." Wang Xian returned a smile to that middle-aged man as he replied impassively. Chapter 190. I'm Wang Xian for. "I'm Wang Xian." It was just 3 short and ordinary words, but they exhibited endless confidence. "Wang Xian, where did this brat come from? How dare he spout nonsense here? Is he courting his own death?" At this moment, before the Lu family responded, a burly man among the Lu family's guests stood up and shouted emotionlessly at Wang Xian. "That's right. How dare you spout nonsense in young master Lu's engagement ceremony? You must be too eager to die." "I have not heard of Wang Xian. However, I'll probably be attending your memorial service the same day next year." What an arrogant brat to kick up a fuss in Lu family's engagement ceremony. You must be tired of living. After that burly middle-aged man stood up to reprimand Wang Xian, other ancient martial artists stood up one after another and stared coldly at Wang Xian. Some of the ancient martial artists emitted strong auras directly as they threw their gazes, filled with killing intent, at Wang Xian. In an instant, everyone's attention had fallen onto Wang Xian. Without having to take actions or say a single word, there was already a group of guests who were willing to stand up for the Lu family. In fact, if it wasn't a joyous event today, they would have taken actions directly to get on the good books of the Lu family. "Xiao Xian, why are you here? Get away quickly." Lan Qingyue was shocked to see Wang Xian. After hearing the threats of the crowd while still being in shock, her face turned pale and she blurted out. She knew that Wang Xian was incredible. However, the other party was the Lu family, who was one of the top forces in Hailing Province. Lan Qingyue's body was shivering a little and her eyes were filled with horror. When the crowd heard Lan Qingyue, they were stunned. What does this mean? When the female party of the engagement ceremony said those words, the meaning behind it would be great. Is Wang Xian the old flame of Lan Qingyue? Or perhaps he was her secret lover. A bright green grass field slowly appeared over Lu Feiyun's head. You couldn't really blame them for reading too much into this. With the development of the situation, it wasn't hard for them to reach this conclusion. In fact, those with a wilder imagination already had a few versions in their minds. The young Missy of the Lan family is forced to marry the Lu family. The lover of the young Missy appears to snatch the bride. The young Missy of the Lan family has an affair with a poor kid. Little Sword Celestial of the Lu family is made a cuckold. Wait. Lan Qingyue. Lu Feiyun saw the expression of Lan Qingyue and heard her words. His expression was savage and he was clenching his fist tightly. Under such circumstances and during his engagement ceremony, for her fiancé to be involved in a scandal with another man, this was the utmost humiliation to him. How could he possibly face the public in the future as the little sword celestial of the tyrannical sword? Bam! Preposterous! Preposterous! At this moment, at the table of the host, the white-bearded old man slammed his hand heavily on the table with a solemn expression. All the cups on the table were knocked over. The old man from Lon family beside him looked extremely pale. The other members of the Lon family were also as white as a sheet. Some even stared at Wang Xian and Lon Qingwei angrily. The burly middle-aged man from before saw how furious old Lu was. He stood up and immediately remarked, "Old Lu, leave this to us. We can handle it. Yeah, old Lu, just leave this brat to us." Those ancient martial arts families and sects who wished to get on the good side of the Lu family stood up one after another and requested old Lu to let them help. Drag him out. Old Lu didn't say a word, but the middle-aged man beside him did. Yes. Instantly, over 10 people nodded their heads. They were from different families and sections. They stood up and stared harshly at Wang Xian before walking towards him. "Brat, you are courting your own death." The burly middle-aged man stared coldly at Wang Xian with killing intent. "Xiao Xian." Seeing this, Lan Qingyue's complexion turned even paler. A teardrop streamed down her cheek. Wang Xian looked at the dozen people walking towards him and revealed a mocking smile. He stood up gradually. Rattle, rattle. At this moment, sounds of tables and chairs scraping the floor sounded. To the astonishment of the Lan family, the Lu family and the guests, all the ancient martial artist families and wealthy men from Rivertown, and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect together with sect leader Tang stood up. They stared coldly at the dozen people walking towards Wang Xian. The atmosphere dropped below freezing point in an instant. Everyone from the Lan family looked at this scene with disbelief. All the major families, ancient martial artist families from Rivertown, and the members of the Thistles and Thorns sect had all stood up with the young man. They were shocked by the development. The Lan family had initially thought that they were only here to show goodwill because of the political marriage with the Lu family. They thought that the Thistles and Thorns sect, Old Qin, and the wealthy men from Rivertown were only here in hopes of getting to know the Lu family. However, they realized that they were completely wrong. They weren't here because they wanted to show goodwill to them for the political marriage with the Lu family. And they weren't there because they were wary of the Lu family. They were here for that young man. The dozen martial artists walking towards Wang Xian were stunned. They looked at the Rivertown crowd in shock as their expressions turned solemn. Just a while ago, they were still commenting that the ancient martial artist families of Rivertown and sects from the southern province were only here because of the Lu family. At this moment, those were just their wishful thoughts. They were here to get on the good books of the Lu family? Nope, they were here to go against the Lu family. Haha, great, great. The middle-aged man beside the white-bearded old man looked hideous as he saw the crowd stand up. He stood up gradually and fixed his eyes on Wang Xian. "Brat, I think I know who you are. To have such a huge influence in Rivertown, and to be so young, you must be Miracle Dr. Wang, who ranks 18th on the Miracle Doctor's chart. Not bad. You are pretty good, brat. However, you choose to not enjoy your bright future and instead offend our Lu family. Do you think this trash from Rivertown is sufficient to challenge our Lu family?" The middle-aged man shouted out the last sentence. Rattle, rattle. As the middle-aged man completed his sentence, the guests of the Lu family stood up immediately. In terms of number, they weren't inferior to the people of Rivertown. When it came to strength, they were much stronger than the crowd from Rivertown. Among the guests of the Lu family, there were 3 to 4 second-class forces. On the other hand, only Thistles and Thorns sect was a second-class force on the Rivertown side. Just a small Rivertown, and yet you dare to challenge the Lu family. You guys don't know where you stand. The Lu family doesn't even need to take actions, and we can easily annihilate you guys. Haha, interesting. A small river town that doesn't even have a second-class force, and the southern province, which doesn't even have a first-class force, are thinking of challenging us and the Liu family. They must be really eager to seek their own death. I'll give you guys a chance right now. Cripple that brat and throw him over. Otherwise, we will annihilate the entire river town. The guests of the Liu family looked down on the group behind Wang Xian. If it was just the forces of Rivertown, they weren't wary at all. In fact, even if they included the southern province, they weren't afraid if they included the Liu family too. I'm sorry that I'm late. At this moment, a nonchalant voice sounded in the ears of everyone. Chapter 191, Annihilation 1. I'm sorry that I'm late. A nonchalant voice sounded in the ears of everyone. Everyone was stunned as they turned their attention to the entrance at the side. It was a middle-aged man with hair that spread around his shoulders. He had a saber at his back. His fringe was concealing his eyes. But even so, a bright and fearsome radiance could be vaguely seen from his eyes. Behind that middle-aged man, dozens of followers were trailing behind him. They had the same weapons in their hands. All of them shared an extraordinary vibe that came from someone who held high positions for a long time. Who is he? A middle-aged man observed the horde of people with surprise as he displayed a puzzled look. But everyone had the same sentiment when the horde of people emerged. All of them were staring at the long-haired, middle-aged man who was leading at the front. We've got more than enough people to challenge you guys. The man was obviously Maniac G. Following behind him were all formidable people from the ancient martial artist families and sects in Flow City. Maniac G might not have established any forces of his own, but he was born and lived in Flow City. He truly deserved to be the king of Flow City. Even if he did not claim to be the king, all the families and sects in Flow City recognized him as one. Maniac G's identity was similar to Wang Xian's in Rivertown. They were kings without having to proclaim themselves as such. None of the people in Flow City dared to defy his orders. Maniac G slowly lifted his chin and stared at the middle-aged man who remarked, "A small river town which doesn't even have a second-class force, and the southern province, which doesn't even have a first-class force, were thinking of challenging them and the Liu family. They must be really eager to seek their own death. Maniac G." That middle-aged man filled his eyes with fear as he swallowed his saliva with a trembling body when he saw Maniac G staring at him nonchalantly. Maniac G, he's Maniac G. All the guests from Liu family went pale in panic. Reputation was all a person needed. Be mad, be a maniac. Do whatever it takes, Maniac G. Back then, Maniac G stooped to any means just to annihilate the entire first-class force, and this created a stir in the ancient martial arts world. Anyone who encountered this maniac would be petrified. Maniac G swept his impassive glance across those guests from Liu family as he paced his way to Wang Xian. With a bow, he shouted respectfully, "Miracle Dr. Wang, you're not late." Wang Xian had not informed Maniac G, but he was pleased to see Maniac G here. G Yuan Kuan might be known as Maniac G, but he had a strong sense of comradeship, and he was someone who kept his words. "Glad to hear that." Maniac G revealed a smile. After his son recovered, he finally found his long-lost smile. "Miracle, Dr. Wang, should I annihilate Liu family?" Maniac G's voice was heard once again. When the guests from Liu family saw the chilly smile Maniac G was wearing, their foreheads broke into a cold sweat. No doubt it was Maniac G. The first thing he said was to annihilate tyrannical sword of Liu family. "Maniac G, do you want to set yourself against us?" At this time, the white-bearded old man who was sitting at the front could not take it lying down. He stood up immediately with frosty radiance flickering in his eyes. Maniac G ignored the white-bearded old man as he continued to look at Wang Xian, waiting for his reply. "Do it." Wang Xian spat out the words coldly. "Ha ha 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 ha." Just then, the white-bearded old man laughed wildly. He stared at Wang Xian with a malevolent expression. Brat, you are thinking of annihilating Lu family? What an arrogant tone. Do you think Maniac Ji himself could do that by himself? The white-bearded old man continued as he glared ferociously at Maniac Ji. Others may be afraid of you, but I, Lu Jingshan, am not. Do you think you can be my match? The white-bearded old man exhibited immense confidence on his face as he spoke. 20 years ago, he had made a breakthrough and attained Inborn Realm, while Maniac Ji had accomplished that only 5 years ago. Hence, Lu Jingshan was dauntless. Wang Xian, damn you. Today, I'll kill you with my own hands. Lu Feiyin felt embarrassed when he saw a horde of ancient martial artist families and Maniac Ji, led by Wang Xian. He slowly drew the sharp-edged sword with a pair of murderous eyes as he glared at Wang Xian. Today, Lu family had nothing to fear if a fight broke out. His grandfather could hold Maniac Ji, while the rest of the guests from Lu family could cripple Wang Xian's men. Kill me with your own hands. Wang Xian stared at Lu Feiyin coldly as he filled his eyes with an immense amount of killing intent. He swung his arm. Whoosh! At this time, 4 figures were thrown over to the side. Everyone was appalled as they quickly turned to check on the black figures. Bam! 4 black figures were thrown to the stage, making 4 thumping sounds. 4 bodies! All of them were aghast as they stared at the 4 bodies on the stage. Lu Feiyin fixed his eyes on the 4 bodies with an awful look on his face. He could even recognize them at one glance, as they were the ones who he had sent to assassinate Wang Xian last night. How dare you send someone to kill my family and me? Huh! I must destroy Lu family. As soon as Wang Xian finished his words, a group of people in black attire with a golden divine dragon embroidered on their chest marched slowly towards them. There were 52 in total, including an old man and a middle-aged man at the entrance. The remaining ones were young men. As they marched over, they exuded an intense killing vibe. All of the people from Lu family varied their expressions. Every one of them stared at those black-attired people as they surrounded them. Lu Jingshan narrowed his eyes as he sensed danger brewing. He stretched out his arm and drew a honed sword as he stared at Wang Xian coldly. With a stern look, the guests from Lu family fixed their eyes on the 50 people who emerged out of nowhere. A small amount of cold sweat broke out from their faces. They were already aghast that Miracle Dr. Wang could gather all the people from Rivertown. They did not expect he could gather Maniac Ji, let alone a group of more than 50 black-attired men who surrounded the area. They might not be aware of their strength, but they could tell that this bunch of people were not ordinary given the killing and imposing vibe they exuded. Besides, the brave act of besieging the Lu family already proved their strength. On the other hand, people from Lan family were dumbfounded and appalled as they watched the event unfold. They did not expect that the political marriage of Lan and Lu family would have such developments. Dazedly, they fixed their eyes upon that young man who had apparently engaged in some entanglement with Qingyue. Initially, they thought this young man would be easily killed by Lu family. Never did they expect things would turn out this way. Experts emerged and eventually besieged them all. They were dazzled as that young man seemed like he wanted to annihilate Lu family. These must be the forces behind him. It's much more formidable than I thought. Sect leader Tan was stunned as he looked at Maniac Ji and the group of black-attired men around him. But he was glad that he had made this choice. Chapter 192, Annihilation 2. The crowd from Rivertown behind Wang Xian looked on silently. Although they knew the strength of the Dragon King, they were still slightly surprised to see the sudden appearance of Maniac Ji. Wang Xian smiled and looked towards the Lu family and the crowd behind them. The Lu family targeted me, and I'm only going to target them. However, if you choose to take action, I wouldn't mind going on a killing spree. Wang Xian revealed a murderous look and looked at Lu Feiyin, who was on the stage. Oh! Little Sword Celestial, who has inherited the will of the Sword Celestial. Let me see your true strength. Wang Xian spoke sarcastically. Behind him, a Dragonian walked directly towards Lu Feiyun. He had a young look and was younger than Lu Feiyun. Do you really think that this is your home ground and you can be so brazen? Seeing Wang Xian's confident look that seemed to have treated him as prey, Lu Jingshan revealed a cold look. He lifted the long sword in his hand slowly and spread a strong aura towards the surroundings. Bam, bam, bam. The cups and plates on the table rattled and made a loud sound. Members of the Lan family quickly moved to the side in horror. The crowd behind the Lu family was hesitating. Looking at the current situation, it was clear that the Lu family was the passive side. The strength of the 50-odd people that surrounded them was unknown. They didn't know how to make a decision, nor did they dare to make a decision. Feeling the strong aura from old Lu, everyone's attention turned to Maniac G. As long as the battle between inborn experts was decided, the victorious side would be clear. Maniac G, I would like to see how strong you really are. If you help him this time, you will be the archenemy of the Lu family. Lu Jingshan pointed his longsword at Maniac G. You will be the second inborn expert that will die in my hands. Maniac G drew his long sword slowly and wasn't wary of going toe-to-toe with Lu Jingshan. It's better if you leave this to the dragon sect. A domineering voice sounded. Bang! A black aura exploded instantly and coalesced into material form. What? The strong aura shocked everyone as they looked at the old man standing at the entrance. The old man lifted his head. The surrounding black aura masked his appearance, but the horrifying aura he emitted suppressed an area spanning over 1,000 meters. A heart-wrenching power could be felt from the old man as the crowd shivered. Even Maniac G or Lu Jingshan did not give them such a strong sense of suppression. So strong! Maniac G's hand was shivering. He looked in shock at the old man emitting black aura as he clenched his long sword even tighter. Inborn expert. It's another inborn expert. A guest of the Lu family couldn't contain himself and exclaimed. That young man had managed to summon 2 inborn experts. Inborn! Members of the Lu family felt their hearts skipped a beat. Dull clouds cast a shadow over their minds as they stared fervently at Emo Qinglong. Lu Jingshan, who was holding a long sword in his hand, could feel perspiration breaking out of his palm as he looked at Emo Qinglong in disbelief. 2 inborn experts. They had to face 2 inborn experts while facing off against a small river town. Moreover, these 2 inborn experts were both summoned by the same young man. Lu Jingshan's face sank. That horrifying old man had locked onto him with his aura. He was sure that if he moved, the other party would definitely attack him. Moreover, he felt that he wouldn't be a match for this old man. This made his heart pump violently. Little Sword Celestial of the Tyrannical Sword? Sword Celestial's inheritance? Emo Wusher, level 8 martial artist, seeking your guidance. At this moment, a Dragonian walked up to the stage. He stared coldly at Lu Feiyun. His voice instantly drew the attention of the crowd. Everyone immediately turned around and looked at the stage. At that spot, a man even younger than Lu Feiyun was standing in front of Lu Feiyun. Lu Feiyun's expressions were changing rapidly. He took a glance at the old man with terrifying aura and perspiration covered his forehead, after which he gripped his sword tightly as he looked to the young man in front of him. Miss Lan, be careful not to be injured. At this moment, sect leader Tang moved and appeared beside Lan Qingyue. Using his internal energy to cover her, he sent her towards Wang Xian. Xiao Xian! Lan Qingyue looked at Wang Xian, still feeling a little disheveled. I know that this isn't your own intention. Moreover, I will not let you marry a dead man today. Wang Xian smiled at Lan Qingyue and walked to her. Die! At this moment, Lu Feiyun let out a loud roar. With a hideous look, he charged towards Emo Wusher. Emo Wusher was unmoved. Looking at the constantly changing swordsmanship of Lu Feiyun, he extended his hand to take the attack directly. You must be courting death. Seeing Mo Wuxia was intending to use his body to take his attack directly, Lu Feiyun revealed a savage look. His swordplay turned even sharper. Bam, bam, bam. Sounds of metal clashing propagated. Mo Wuxia used his palm to take on the sharp sword directly before pushing forward with his entire body. This is bad. Lu Feiyun was shocked as horror filled his eyes. Bam! A palm hit Lu Feiyun heavily. Mo Wuxia followed up and stepped on Lu Feiyun with his feet as he stared coldly at him. How dare you offend the Dragon King with these meager skills? Mo Wuxia looked down on Lu Feiyun with contempt. Little sword celestial? Inheritance from the sword celestial? Trash! Lu Feiyun's eyes popped open and were filled with disbelief. This man, who was even younger than him, was surprisingly able to crush him easily. He had always been a proud person, and even swore to make it to the top of the outstanding young heroes chart. However, what happened now made him feel utterly defeated. He was one of the top 20 on the outstanding young heroes chart, and yet he lost to an unknown young man easily. He tilted his head and stared at the young man who was looking at him with contempt. He was the little sword celestial who had received the inheritance of the sword celestial. He was supposed to become an inborn expert in the future. Bam! However, an intense pain cruised throughout him at this moment as he felt his consciousness slipping away from him slowly. Feiyun! Feiyun! The members of the Lu family were aghast as they looked in horror at Lu Feiyun, who was lying on the elevated stage. Wang Xian looked at the members of the Lu family coldly and remarked, "If one tries to kill me, I'll definitely kill him. Lu Feiyun sent people to assassinate me and my kin. I'll be returning these right now." His voice propagated to everyone's ears. Everyone in the Lu family was horrified. What he meant was that Feiyun wanted to kill him and his family. Therefore, he would also kill Feiyun and all his family members. "Qingyue, it's going to get bloody. Let's leave this place," Wang Xian said to Lan Qingyue gently. Lan Qingyue looked at him blankly. Shortly after, tears streamed down her cheeks as she nodded her head heavily. Chapter 193, Annihilation 3. The sun was shining. A gust of cool breeze drifted over, cooling the summer. When the cool breeze came off the engagement ceremony at Flowing Water Villa, it was a bone-piercing chill. All of them watched as the young man and girl took their leave while the black-attired men slowly closed up the blockade. "You want to destroy Lu family?" Lu Jingshan clenched his long sword tightly with a ghastly look as he swept his gaze across the black, imposing old man and Maniac Ji. "Miracle Dr. Wang cured my son. You can only blame your grandson for this." Maniac Ji drew his long saber slowly as his body gave off an immense killing aura. Unexpected. A mere miracle doctor of Rivertown could summon 2 inborn experts. What a surprise! Lu Jingshan let out distasteful laughter. Apparently, he misunderstood that the people of Dragon Sect also owed Wang Xian their favor. He swept his gaze across all the people. Destroying Lu family? I'm afraid it is not that simple. I'll wipe out your entire family instantly. Mo Qinglong looked at Lu Jingshan with a disdainful look. As he spoke, he struck. "Run! Get out of here! Get out of here!" Lan family and the rest of the guests fled in all directions with fear when they saw how the situation developed. The battle of inborn experts was not something they could participate in. If they got involved, they'd either get seriously injured or die. "Why didn't you tell me when such serious things like this happened to you?" Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue strode to one of the rooms and turned a deaf ear to the devastating screams behind them. "Why should I?" Lan Qingyue looked over her shoulder and returned a question. Wang Xian drew a bitter smile on his face. It seemed like Lan Qingyue still bore grudges over his choice of Guan Shuqing. But for what you did today, I'll forgive you. Lan Qingyue hesitated as she saw his smile. But Lu family, leave the Lu family to them. Don't worry, I'm not afraid of them. Wang Xian chuckled and continued, we'll settle your family's affairs together. When people learn about what happened today, Lingyue sect and Zhou family wouldn't dare to play any tricks. If they did, there's nothing to fear either. Thank you, Xiao Xian. Lan Qingyue stopped and looked at him as she was touched. Wang Xian grinned. A red wedding gown would suit you better. Wear the red one next time. Lan Qingyue slightly blushed when she heard his comment. She reached out her hands to hug him gently. Wang Xian revealed a thrilled expression as he hugged her tightly. He whispered in her ear, you must be tired from the last few days. Why don't we enjoy ourselves for a few days? I'll take you out to sea. Sure, I'll call my parents to tell them that I'm having a break for the next few days. Lan Qingyue struggled out of his hug and stretched herself. She then ran to the room next door with a beaming face and took out her phone to call her parents. Hello, Qingyue? Are you okay? Lan Qingyue's father held his phone as he watched Lu Jingshan spit out fresh blood in the air. He asked this with trepidation. Dad, I'm going out with Xiao Xian for a few days. These last few days have been tiring for me. I want to have a good rest. Lan Qingyue spoke in a joyful mood. Sure, go and have fun with Miracle Dr. Wang. You don't have to worry about anything. Lan Qingyue's father quickly agreed. Since his daughter had gotten such capable boyfriend, why the hell would they want to continue with the political marriage with Lu family? What's more, they were almost dead now. So long as they befriended Miracle Dr. Wang, Lan family was not afraid of Zhou family and Lingyue sect. Besides, the Miracle Dr. Wang was obviously much easier to get along with than the Lu family. I'm done, Xiao Xian. Let's go. I want to relax for a few days. Lan Qingyue changed out of her wedding gown and came to Wang Xian with thrills all over her face. She looked like she was a little carefree girl. Let's go. We'll go out to the sea. The yacht that I bought a few days ago just arrived today, Wang Xian said with a smile. Sure, let's go to the sea. I'm going to swim, surf, and fish, Lan Qingyue exclaimed with excitement. Sure, let's go. Wang Xian held her hand and went outside. Lan Qingyue was only 22 years old now, and she should not be responsible for the entire group. She should not endure a marriage that she hated. She should be learning and having fun in school without a single worry. Wow, what a beautiful villa and yacht. They took a car to the villa that sat right next to the sea. Lan Qingyue was animated as soon as she saw the villa and the yacht. I'll pick up something from the house. As Wang Xian spoke, he went into the villa and picked up swimsuits, red wine, tea leaves, and some supplies. Qingyue, let's head out to the sea. Wang Xian brought her to the yacht. What a beautiful yacht. It's much better than the one my dad bought. Lan Qingyue looked at the luxury that was over 30 meters long with an ebullient expression. The yacht was divided into 2 levels. The ground floor had a sofa, kitchen, dining area, and it was quite spacious. There were 4 rooms on the second floor. A 30-meter-long yacht had a floor area that was larger than an average house. Xiao Xian, can you drive a yacht? Lan Qingyue asked as she roamed around the yacht. Ahem, I think there should be driving instructions. I'm quite smart, so there shouldn't be any problems. Driving a yacht required a license too, but Wang Xian believed he could handle it. Haha, let's do it together. Lan Qingyue followed behind Wang Xian with much interest. Wang Xian took the operating manual. He was examining the brand new yacht with a beaming face. The oil tank is full. Let's set out now. With a smiling face, Wang Xian began to operate the yacht as it sailed slowly out to the sea. Be careful, Xiao Xian. You're maneuvering it without a license. Lan Qingyue said, grinning. Haha, don't worry. Leave this to me. Let's go somewhere shallow first before we go further out. We can enjoy ourselves for the next 2 to 3 days, said Wang Xian with a smile. Sure. The yacht continued to sail across the sea. As a first-timer, Wang Xian did not dare to drive it too fast, but without knowing, he actually drove them to somewhere near the Dragon Sect Island. He hesitated and stopped the yacht. Let's stop and check out this place. Okay, I want to catch some fish. How about having fish for dinner? There is diving equipment on the yacht. We can dive and catch some lobsters for dinner. I don't dare to do that. Is the water deep over here? Will there be any sharks? Haha, how can there be? Let's go. I'll take you out for a swim. Wang Xian and Lan Qingyue changed into diving suits and dived underwater freely. Swimming, diving, and fishing. Wang Xian even caught some lobsters and crabs for dinner. Chapter 194. Fish Tornado and the Ichthyosaur. Wang Xian accompanied Lan Qingyue till 9+ at night. He had initially intended to sleep with the lady, but was ruthlessly pushed out with the doors locked. Wang Xian smiled bitterly as he walked to the first floor. Walking to the deck, he looked to the faraway seas. He could sense that Lan Qingyue had fallen asleep on the second floor. She had barely slept over the last 2 days and was finally able to get a good rest today. It will at least be 10 hours before Lan Qingyue wakes up. Wang Xian thought to himself. He hesitated for a moment before removing his clothes and throwing them onto the sofa. Bam! Wang Xian leaped into the skies and dived into the seas. Moving his body, he transformed into a 6-meter-long divine dragon in an instant. Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Girl are just around the corner. Let's summon them over. Wang Xian looked around and let out a dragon roar to the surroundings. Growl! Growl! Soon replies were heard. Wang Xian could see Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Girl, Roving Lobster, and Roving Heavens with his group of devil monkeys swimming towards him. At the forefront, the 9 venomous sea snakes were the fastest as they approached Wang Xian at an astonishing speed. Greetings, Dragon King. Prime Minister Turtle, Roving Heavens, Roving Girl, Roving Lobster, and the rest bowed respectfully in front of Wang Xian. Wang Xian looked at the 800 devil monkeys and could sense their improvements in strength. He couldn't help but reveal a satisfied look. Behind Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Lobster, there was a group of sea turtles and large lobsters following them. These sea turtles and lobsters looked extremely lively. The sizes of these lobsters were all around a meter, and their 2 huge claws looked extremely destructive. These were all subordinates of the Prime Minister Turtle and Roving Lobster. Let's make use of the night to go deeper into further sea regions to look for resources required for leveling up. Wang Xian thought to himself. Wang Xian looked at the yacht a short distance away. He hesitated for a moment before ordering the Prime Minister Turtle, "Drag the yacht along." "Yes, Dragon King." Prime Minister Turtle nodded his head and swam below the yacht. Although the 30 meters long yacht was heavy, Prime Minister Turtle was able to easily drag it along on the water surface. Wang Xian was a little worried about Lan Qingyue. He went to the second floor quietly and used dragon energy to calm her body and make her enter deep sleep. If there weren't huge disturbances, she would only wake up after 10 hours. Let's head towards the deeper sea region. Wang Xian dived into the seas once again and gave his orders. Wang Xian had searched the entire Bohai Sea. Up to this point, other than the huge, level, 12 devil flowers that weren't finished off, the other areas had been combed. The Bohai Sea wasn't big. With their speed, they only used 3 hours to reach the Yellow Sea. Wang Xian noticed a sudden and drastic change in the underwater world ahead of him. The depth of the Yellow Sea was approximately 40 meters, deep on average. The deeper region could reach a depth of over 80 meters. The entire Yellow Sea was very broad and was several times the size of the Bohai Sea. At this moment, the region where Wang Xian was at was approximately 50 meters deep. This was the first time he came to such a deep-sea region. Under the waters, it was pitch black at night. Seagrass was common, and the variety of fish was much higher than the Bohai Sea. This place is much more comfortable. I always feel that I could barely move in the Bohai Sea. Wang Xian swayed his body within the 50 meters deep sea as he swam around freely. There's a school of sharks ahead. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and focused on the 20-odd sharks 1,000 meters away. These sharks were all 4 to 5 meters long and gave off a violent aura as they swam domineeringly in the sea. Wang Xian revealed a faint smile. He got moving and swam towards the school of sharks directly. Big white sharks, level 5. Extractable dragon energy, 534. That's over 10,000 points of dragon energy from 20 sharks. Haha, this is something the Bohai Sea couldn't match up to. Wang Xian was thrilled. Sea monsters in deep waters weren't simply a myth. The resources in the entire Yellow Sea were at least a dozen or even a few dozen times more than the Bohai Sea. When my subordinates and I get stronger, I'll head to the real seas for an adventure. I wonder if there will be terrifying creatures at a depth of 10,000 feet underwater? Are there other races living in the pitch-black darkness within the seas? Are ancient marine animals still surviving at the bottom of the seas? Wang Xian was getting excited from these thoughts. The sea regions were largely unexplored by humans. In the near future, he would be exploring the entire seas and become the ruler of the seas. Wang Xian was filled with ambition. He let out a soft roar, and his subordinates swam over quickly. Let's explore the Yellow Sea, Wang Xian ordered. His gaze was fixed in front of him as he led his subordinates to conquer the unknown sea region. The seabed of the Yellow Sea wasn't too different from the Bohai Sea. Both had flat grounds and areas where it was a little more mountainous. However, the scenery of the Yellow Sea was grander and more beautiful than the Bohai Sea. Devour, devour, devour! There were many species of fish around him. There were little yellow croaker, hairtail fish, Pacific mackerel, Spanish mackerel, yellow drumfish, slender shad fish, Pacific herrings, pomfrets, codfish, and many others. Moving around, Wang Xian devoured all the fish he came across. In just 2 hours, he had gained more than 17,000 points of dragon energy. Just 42,000 points of dragon energy more, and I'll level up. Let's try to increase my level by the end of the night. Wang Xian thought to himself and turned his attention ahead. The area in front of him was different from the darkness of the surrounding seas. It was full of marine animals that were glowing. The glowing marine animals illuminated the bottom of the seas. Moving his body, Wang Xian headed towards it. When he approached the illuminated region, he was shocked by what he saw. Fish tornado. It's a humongous fish tornado. There were at least a few 100,000 to a few million fish gathered here and swimming in circles, like a tornado under the water. Wang Xian squinted his eyes and stared fervently at this fish tornado. If I devour all the fish here, I'll gain at least a few 100,000 points of dragon energy. Wang Xian's eyes lit up, and he immediately ordered, "Surround the entire school of fish." The entire fish tornado spanned over 1,000 meters. Wang Xian wasn't able to dominate the entire school with his dragon power. Moreover, he noticed that there were several unique fish species in the middle of the fish tornado. They had a terrifying size, and every one of them was at least 7 to 8 meters. They also had flat heads with sharp mouths. Their mouths were approximately 2 meters long with rows of sharp teeth exposed that gave off an eerie glow. What's that fish? Wang Xian was filled with doubt. These 4 to 5 unique fish swam in the middle of the fish tornado, like the kings of the school. Around them, densely packed herrings, Pacific mackerel, and Spanish mackerel seemed to be honoring them as their kings. Wang Xian swayed his tail and started his hunt. This would be his first battle towards conquering the Yellow Sea. Chapter 195, Ichthyosaurs. There were thousands of species hidden in the deep sea, occupying 70% of planet Earth, and the secrets were far more than any human could imagine. The ocean has always been an unexplored area for humans. Wang Xian stared at the fish tornado before him with fervent eyes and a relaxed expression on his face. 800 devil monkeys went up slowly to surround the fish tornado. Food hunting. This was the way for any living beings to evolve. Whoever can hunt to the last would be the most powerful being remaining. Wang Xian jerked his divine dragon's body and charged out to the school of fish at a daunting speed. Dragon power. Boom! An invisible force encompassed the area, spanning 1,000 kilometers as though the king had arrived. The entire school of swirling fish suddenly froze. Wang Xian opened his mouth and devoured the school of fish before him. Herring, Pacific mackerels, and Spanish mackerels converted to dragon energy in his belly at a rapid rate. Boom! The entire fish tornado was in chaos as they fled crazily in all directions. Located in the middle of the school of fish, another type of fish teetered their huge bodies as they stared at Wang Xian with a ferocious look. They swayed their tails and charged towards him. Sensing the impetus of the 5 odd-looking fish types, Wang Xian revealed a surprising look on his face. The 5 odd-looking fish were covered with layers of palm-sized fish scales which looked heavy in the water. Ichthyosaurs, level 9. Extractable dragon energy, 49,642. Ichthyosaurs. It's the legendary ichthyosaurs. When the 5 odd-looking fish were dashing towards him, their information appeared in Wang Xian's mind. Ichthyosaurs belonged to an ancient fish group. According to the current historical study, they could have even existed way before the dinosaurs. Based on the records, a large ichthyosaurs could reach more than 20 meters long. The current 5 ichthyosaurs before him were only about 10 meters. 5 ichthyosaurs could provide me with more than 200,000 points of dragon energy. Haha, not bad. Wang Xian was thrilled as he launched an attack at the 5 ichthyosaurs without any fear. Bam! A ichthyosaur swam fast and furiously towards him with a gaping mouth that was 3 meters wide. Within its mouth, it was densely packed with teeth that looked terrifying. Ka. Wang Xian stretched out his metal-like dragon claw, which scratched the top of that ichthyosaur's mouth. Hiss! The razor-edged dragon claw ripped the mouth of the ichthyosaurs. Blood splattered in all directions. Growl! Upon seeing that Wang Xian had wounded their companion, the other 4 ichthyosaurs opened their mouths and attempted to bite him. Grew! Wang Xian swung his tail, shaking the surroundings violently. Soon after, 4 solidified water balloons appeared at his tail. Each of them was 1 meter in size, giving off an emerald blue luster in the sea. Bam, 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 bam. 4 water balloons emerged in front of the 4 ichthyosaurs instantly and landed in their mouths. Boom! The water balloons exploded, and the 4 ichthyosaurs were dripping blood from their mouths. Wang Xian stretched out his dragon claw at one of the ichthyosaurs again. SSSS. Another sound of a tear was heard. Given Wang Xian's current level, he possessed the same strength as an average level 11 marine animal. 5 ichthyosaurs were under his brutal torture. I don't have time to waste on you. Wang Xian saw millions of fish fleeing away in all directions. Even with 800 devil monkeys surrounding the area, many fish still managed to make their escape. He made a swift move and inflicted severe damage to the 4 ichthyosaurs. He then moved around to devour the escaping fish. Dragon power encompassed the area as he swallowed the fish and converted them into dragon energy. After half an hour, there were no more fish left, only dead silence. Wang Xian made a swift move and came to the 5 ichthyosaurs. They were bigger than Wang Xian by many times with 10-meter-long bodies. He opened his mouth and fed on the ichthyosaurs. He only managed to swallow them all after chewing a dozen times. Haha, my dragon energy increased by 300,000 points instantly. I still need about 100,000 points before I can hit level 7. Wang Xian revealed his thrill. The higher level he got to, the better he could manage his control of the 5 elements. His strength would get stronger too. A level up was not solely about upgrading strength. It was more than that. Let's go. I must level up to 7 by the end of today. Wang Xian commanded his subordinates and swam forward. The surroundings were full of kelp while some glowing jellyfish were floating around. The sea was not as dark as it seemed at a depth of 50 meters deep. In the ocean, those deep waters with thousands of meters of depth were the place where darkness stayed. Sunlight could only reach hundreds of meters. How wonderful it would be if I could find other ichthyosaurs. Wang Xian had been swimming forward. Probably due to the fish tornado, the number of fish within dozens of miles was significantly reduced. What's that? A shipwreck? I mean a bunch of shipwrecks? Wang Xian was slightly stupefied by a large number of shipwrecks in front of him. The sails were broken, lying around disorderly in the sea. Some of the ships had half of their bodies caught at the bottom of the seabed. Furthermore, Wang Xian noticed some strange plants were growing on some of the ships. It was rather peculiar. There's something strange about the place before us. Just then, Wang Xian narrowed his eyes. He peered at the front, then to the back. Both of them gave him a different vibe, as though they were 2 distinct regions. Dragon King, it's the territory of other creatures ahead of us. Roving Heavens took his rod to Wang Xian and told Wang Xian, with wary eyes, gazing at the place before them. Territory of other creatures. Wang Xian looked at Roving Heavens with some doubts. There are many creatures in the ocean. They will gather and occupy a region. Based on the size of the region, it will reflect the strength of the group. Roving Heavens observed the place ahead and said with a stern look, "The region ahead is not any smaller than our devil monkeys. Since other marine life does not dare to come close, it means that a dominant race exists in this place." Oh! Wang Xian nodded his head slowly. Most of the living creatures were living in groups. They could occupy one place and rule the land. Same logic for the ocean. An eerie silence filled the area ahead. Obviously, it was the territory of a race. The battle of territory. Wang Xian looked behind as the devil monkeys gathered behind him. Prime Minister Turtle pulled the yacht to the side and came to the bottom of the sea. Roving Girl and Roving Lobster were gazing ahead. We fight. Forward. Wang Xian was also bursting with fighting spirit as he swam slowly forward. Roving Heavens, Prime Minister Turtle, 9 venomous sea snakes, and the 800 devil monkeys were following solemnly behind him as they marched towards the region. Who dares to step into the ichthyosaur's family's territory? Just then, a muffled voice was heard. The voice was not human, but a unique transmission through spirits. Wang Xian could understand such spirit waves. He stopped and looked ahead. Roving Heavens and the rest stopped their motions too. A gigantic ichthyosaur, 15 meters long, floated out from one of the shipwrecks with a domineering demeanor. Chapter 196. War. Get out of our territory or die. This ichthyosaur had its attention fixed on Wang Xian and his subordinates. His gaze was cold and filled with bloodlust. So strong. It's much stronger than the 5 ichthyosaurs we met previously. Feeling the aura from the ichthyosaur, Wang Xian was a little shocked. This ichthyosaur had clearly manifested intelligence, and its level would definitely not be any lower than 10. It had a huge body that spanned 15 meters and gave off chilly vibes. Surrender or die. Wang Xian stared at that ichthyosaur and growled. Growl, growl, growl. When ichthyosaur heard Wang Xian, it immediately lifted his head and let out 3 cries. Waves emitted from his mouth and propagated to the surroundings. At that instant, the quiet region seemed to have livened up. In a sunken ship a small distance away, 2 ichthyosaurs that were approximately 3 to 4 meters long swam out. From a 40–50-meter-long sunken ship, an ichthyosaur that spanned over 10 meters swam out. At the same time, ichthyosaurs swam out from various sunken ships in the surroundings. Among them, the smallest was 2 to 3 meters long, while the larger ones spanned 15 to 16 meters. At the very end, a 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur swam out from the depth of the waters. Gradually, the school of ichthyosaurs appeared at the location 500 meters ahead of Wang Xian. Ichthyosaurs of various sizes added up to 600 to 700 of them. Among them, there were 20 to 30 of them that were approximately 10 meters long, 3 that were approximately 15 meters, and 1 that was 17 to 18 meters long. How dare you barge into our territory? I'm going to eat you. That 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur stared fervently at Wang Xian. It could feel a strong attraction from Wang Xian. Its instincts were telling him that if he could devour this strange creature, it would be able to evolve further. Kill! That huge ichthyosaur swayed its large tail and ordered. In that instant, all the ichthyosaurs opened their wide mouths and attacked Wang Xian. How ruthless of them to attack us directly! Seeing the 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur, Wang Xian moved his tail slowly. Kill! A dragon roar burst from Wang Xian. Growl! Roving Heavens lifted the rod in his hand and let out a long roar. Growl! The group of devil monkeys behind it also let out a loud roar while emitting their bloodlust. SSS, SSS, SSS. The 9 venomous sea snakes lifted their heads and spat out their tongues. BZZZ. Prime Minister Turtle, who had been lying on the seabed, shook a little as his body was covered by the mud gradually. Roving Lobster stood up and extended his huge claws that glowed with a metallic shine. Bang! Wang Xian headed for the ichthyosaur directly ahead of him. Behind him, Roving Heavens, 9 venomous sea snakes, Prime Minister Turtle, and the group of devil monkeys also made their moves. There were over 1,000 animals from both sides, but the aura they gave off seemed to be 10 times their sizes. Swish, swish, swish. Wang Xian swayed his tail, and 2 huge water balls gathered behind him. Each water ball was approximately 2 meters and was shot directly at the ichthyosaur at the front of the school. I'm going to devour you. The 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur wasn't moved by Wang Xian's attacks at all. It flapped its tail rapidly and swam past Wang Xian's head directly. Bam! The water balls exploded. Ichthyosaur, level 11. Extractable dragon energy, 293,244. Level 11. When Wang Xian saw the level of this ichthyosaur, he wasn't surprised at all. He kept his composure as his dragon claws glowed in a metallic shine and attacked the ichthyosaur. The 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur had a head that was 5 to 6 meters long. On it, densely packed teeth were the size of a fist and looked extremely sharp. Its entire head had similar skin to a crocodile with protruding portions on the head. Its size was more than 3 times that of Wang Xian. Growl! Bam! Sounds of collision propagated as Wang Xian's dragon claws clashed with its mouth. Its teeth were ripped off directly by Wang Xian's dragon claw. The ichthyosaur didn't let go of Wang Xian's dragon claws. In response, Wang Xian emitted flames from his claws and forced it to relax its grip rapidly. Take this rod from me. At this moment, Roving Heavens and the rest were clashing with the school of ichthyosaurs. Roving Heavens lifted its metal rod like the great sage equaling heaven in television shows and smashed directly at the 15 meters long ichthyosaur. Limitless gravel. At the bottom of the seas, a wave of yellow earth suddenly engulfed the dozen ichthyosaurs ahead. Amidst the yellow earth were solid stones that were sent towards the school of ichthyosaur directly. Water control, water imprisonment. Behind the group, Roving Girl moved her palms as ropes of water restricted the mouths of the ichthyosaurs. As she waved her hands, Droplets of water appended themselves to the devil monkeys rushing towards the earth, sent by Prime Minister Turtle, and prevented their vision from being blurred by the yellow earth. 800 devil monkeys leaped and attacked towards the ichthyosaurs. However, the most horrifying of them all were the 9 venomous sea snakes. Their speed was astonishing, and they used potent venom. When moving at full speed, the surrounding ichthyosaurs couldn't keep up with their speed at all. With every bite, venom was injected into the ichthyosaurs that stiffened their bodies. In fact, ichthyosaurs that were smaller than 10 meters were poisoned to death directly. The 9 venomous sea snakes were like assassins and were extremely frightening. You guys are seeking your own deaths. Picking up the scent of blood from the surroundings, the 17 to 18 meters long ichthyosaur looked over and saw its kind being slain. Its eyes gradually turned red. It was a creepy shade of red that had a drop of blue liquid within it. Wang Xian was shocked to see the change in the eyes of the ichthyosaur and increased his alertness. Growl! The ichthyosaur stared at Wang Xian with bloodthirst as it attacked him. Wang Xian kept his composure and met it with his dragon claws. Bang! At this moment, the ichthyosaur initiated the attack with its tail. The swing of its tail brought strong current that was of at least several tons of force. Wang Xian was unmoved and swayed his own tail. A huge current started forming as it smashed towards the ichthyosaur's tail. Growl! Seeing that its tail attack was stopped by Wang Xian, the ichthyosaur opened its mouth and bit towards Wang Xian's body. Die! Wang Xian waved his dragon's claws downwards towards the large and extended jaws of the ichthyosaur. Ka! Wang Xian's dragon claws opened a long wound on the ichthyosaur's head. However, the ichthyosaur managed to bite onto his tail. An intense pain sensation cruised in his body. Wang Xian immediately broke free and swam backwards. The ichthyosaur felt the pain and retreated in a hurry. Why did the ichthyosaur choose to bite my tail of all places? Seeing his dragon tail that was about to break into 2, Wang Xian's face sank. Energy of the azure dragon covered his wounds on his tail, and he was recovering gradually. Wang Xian looked at the ichthyosaur and noticed the blood-red eyes were shimmering in a brighter glow as it stared intensely at him. Chapter 197 Victory. The eyes of the ichthyosaur must have a special ability. Wang Xian stared at its eyes. Somehow, he had a feeling of getting seen through by them. It was a peculiar kind of feeling. It was as though it could see his weakness and attack it. When the creatures hit level 10 and 11, they will develop their own special ability. In particular, level 11, as they would definitely possess their own ability for sure. Wang Xian pondered. Level 10 was already an inborn expert, while level 11 was considered to be a realm above inborn realm. This was beyond an average human scope, since they possessed unique means. The ichthyosaur in front had a special pair of eyes which could spot any weaknesses. Roar! Just when Wang Xian was having his thoughts, the ichthyosaur relaunched its attack. The gigantic mouth tried to bite his tail again. Due to the difference in mass, Wang Xian had difficulties dodging it. Looking for my weakness. Wang Xian squinted his eyes. With a violent jerk, the colors on his body began to change. Eventually, he turned to a metallic, golden divine dragon. His entire body was gold, giving off a faint metallic shine in the sea. Metal divine dragon had a weaker defense, but a more powerful attack than the earth divine dragon. When the ichthyosaur saw the transformation of Wang Xian, it revealed a shock in its eyes. Through its vision, it was shocked to find out that the fellow before it seemed like a piece of metal without any weaknesses. Even his eyes were golden pupils. All the body parts were indestructible. Sure enough, this ichthyosaur must have read the weakness on me. Wang Xian observed the expression of the ichthyosaur and spoke to himself. He stretched out his dragon claw, opened his golden dragon mouth, and launched an attack. Bam! To meet force with force was the most primitive way of combating. But as soon as Wang Xian attacked, There was a sharp radiance of 1 meter long extending out from his pair of dragon claws. He slashed it at the ichthyosaur. Hiss! The razor-sharp metal aura enveloped and cut the body of the ichthyosaur, leaving wounds of 1 meter long on its body. Wang Xian displayed a cold look as he stared at ichthyosaur with wariness. His body swayed as he was ready to strike again at any time. Roar! The ichthyosaur roared with rage. Growl! At this time, devastating shrieks were heard from the side. That ichthyosaur was shocked as he began to observe the surroundings. Suddenly, he realized that 3 15-meter-long ichthyosaurs were falling apart under the joint attack of roving heavens, Prime Minister Turtle, and 9 venomous sea snakes. All of them were wounded and blood was everywhere. Those 10-meter-long ichthyosaurs were attacked by 2-meter-sized lobsters, which were gleaming with a metallic glow from head to toe. They were wielding their pincers in the assault. Half of the smaller ones were either wounded or killed. The bunch of devil monkeys gave off demonic flames, accompanied by fearsome attacks. Their bodies were covered by black scales, which looked extremely creepy. Every devil monkey looked more like a hideous devil. Roar! The 17-meter-long ichthyosaur let out a mournful growl. His eyes got redder, and his body exuded icy cold luster as he glared at Wang Xian. Hee, I can upgrade my level after I eat you up. Wang Xian also returned him a pair of cold stares. Dragon King! Dragon King! Just then, Prime Minister Turtle swam slowly below him. Roving heavens came to the left, while the 9 venomous sea snakes were swimming around him. All of them were staring at the 17-meter-long ichthyosaur. Kill it! Wang Xian immediately issued orders. Prime Minister Turtle took the first move to make a group of earth thorns slowly surface on the water, swiftly launching an attack with it. Roving Heavens swung his rod in his hand and smashed the ichthyosaur. 9 venomous sea snakes moved at a frightening speed and darted out. Wang Xian was moving his tail as he exuded a metallic aura. Roar! The ichthyosaur was petrified as it could not resist the most vigorous assault from the Dragon Palace. Bam, bam, bam. Blood splattered as Roving Heavens swung his rod hard on the head of the ichthyosaur. Wang Xian made a swift move and bit the ichthyosaur's body as he swallowed it in big gulps. A mouthful of flesh and blood turned into immense dragon energy. Growl! The ichthyosaur let out a despairing scream before its vitality quickly disappeared. Wang Xian swallowed the 17-meter-long ichthyosaur, weighing dozens of tons, entirely in a minute. His dragon claws grabbed the pair of ichthyosaur's eyeballs and continued to devour other ichthyosaurs around him, ignoring the system notifications and the increase in his body mass. Dragon energy was rising at a crazy speed. The battle of the races often brings massive benefits to the ones who win the victory. After Wang Xian devoured more than hundreds of ichthyosaurs, his dragon energy increased to more than 1 million points. Currently, his body grew to 7 meters long. Name: Wang Xian. Race: 5 elements divine dragon, able to transform into a human. Level: 7, dragon energy, 1,563 for 21/10/000000. Superpower: dominate the marine animals, ability to rule any marine animals that are lower than the existing level. Devour any form of marine animals for extraction of dragon energy. 5 elements control. Art of cultivation. Divine dragon transformation. Finally, I promoted my level. Wang Xian looked at his own attributes and was thrilled about it. He rocked his body as he felt the mightiness from the divine dragon body. Now, it should be a lot easier to deal with that ichthyosaur. I can even fight level 12 creatures. Wang Xian thought to himself. He transformed himself into a 5-colored divine dragon. Wang Xian glanced around and noticed a bunch of devil monkeys chewing the smaller ichthyosaur's dead bodies. He ignored them. This is the law of the jungle. Devouring some powerful creatures could enhance some strength and bring about many benefits. Wang Xian swam towards the shipwrecks ahead of him. He breathed out earth dragon aura from his mouth, unveiling all the shipwrecks in front of him. Treasure. When he saw the chests in it, he was exhilarated. With his claw, he opened it immediately. Unfortunately, they contained calligraphy and paintings which had already turned into scraps. He opened another chest and found silver inside. Silver. Just nice. We're short on that. Wang Xian was satisfied with his find. Just then, the system notification arrived. He pondered before he collected all the silver. He continued to search the rest of the shipwrecks and found silver in the chests and a small portion of gold. These plants. Wang Xian came to the plants which he had noticed when he arrived here just now. The plants grew on the ships, glistening and looking alluring. They were very eye-catching. 5 tufts were found on the central shipwreck. Another 5 to 6 tufts were located at the side. When he arrived before these plants, a message appeared in his brain. Fish secretion grass, level 5. Extractable dragon energy, 7,657. Level 5 spiritual medicines. They are level 5 spiritual medicines. No wonder the ichthyosaurs marked this place as their territory. It was all for the level 5 spiritual medicines. Wang Xian displayed slight surprise as he swam forward and picked the tufts of fish secretion grass up. With curiosity, he opened up the chest under the fish secretion grass and found some spoilt herbs in it. These fish secretion grasses must have been formed after the ships sank in the sea along with the gold, silver, and spiritual medicines a few thousand years ago. Dragon King, 25 devil monkeys died, and there were 108 casualties in this battle. At this moment, Roving Heavens came over and reported respectfully, "We had more than 10 deaths." Wang Xian nodded his head. In wars, death is inevitable. The deaths of 25 devil monkeys was considered little. Wang Xian realized a problem after the battle just now. It was about war formation. Devil monkeys were the main force as the forward. Hence, it was inevitable to have deaths and casualties during close combat. But the Clam Girl's performance surprised him. The Clam Girl's long-range assistance could bring significant advantages to the devil monkeys who would engage in close combat. In the future, the 9 divisions of the Divine Dragon will create a formation. The Devil Division will be the forward. We need to have an auxiliary division, a long-range attack division, and a defense division, just like the assistants, tankers, supports, mages, and scouts in a game. Wang Xian thought to himself, the 9 divisions of the Divine Dragon would be developing in this direction. The recruitment of subordinates would be in this direction as well. Hence, the ichthyosaurs with bulky attacks were not in his consideration,